Dun, dun. What up? What up, chat? How y'all doing tonight? Hello, hello, hello. Oh, we just got back from Winco, getting a bunch of stuff for sandwiches tomorrow. Me and Shane are going to be making a bunch of sack lunches in the morning. We got enough for probably like 60 to 70 sandwiches. And we're going to make them into sack lunches. Peanut butter and jelly. We got ham and turkey also. Yes, they are, cowboy. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Tommy TV time. Let's go. I started watching this video the other day by Tommy G, and I stopped watching it like halfway through, I think, because I wanted to watch it with you guys and get your guys' reaction. Is it just YouTube? Did I go live on the other channels? Is there anybody from X in here yet? X or Rumble?
Looking to see.
God bless Ice. Oh, I'm live. I'm live on X. Hey, there it is. Alright. And Rumble. Yep. Alright. Fat Patriot, what up? We're gonna do a little reaction video to this Tommy G video. If you guys haven't seen Tommy G or don't know Tommy G, I advise you to go and subscribe to Tommy G for sure. He makes great videos. Like he makes a whole wide range of videos exposing scam. He went with those insane drivers that be cutting it up. He's done all kinds of stuff. He goes to county jails and shows what it's like in these most extreme jails. It's really good. And this video, I like it. It brings up a lot of questions and probably a lot of answers to a lot of problems. Big dog's gotta eat, yes sir. I'm thinking about getting one of his shirts. You know what's funny? Babe, you know what's funny? Shane was live streaming hella late last night, and he fucking fell asleep, and his YouTube kept going, and they ended up having to take down his video because when you fall asleep, the videos just automatically go to the next video, and he got a copyright thing because he fell asleep and the videos kept going. And that fool fell asleep live streaming. That shit was funny as fuck. He was talking to me about it today. I was dying laughing. The fool fell asleep talking to y'all motherfuckers. I told him, you gotta turn that autoplay off, bro. You gotta turn the autoplay off. If you're gonna be live streaming and playing videos and shit, you gotta turn that autoplay off, because when you fall asleep, bro, you're gonna get that copyright strike. I fucking love Shane, bro. Shane is like, me and Shane have become like best friends, like really good friends. Through all this, like, yeah, we we get along so good, bro. We be dying laughing together. It's fun. We were in his chat laughing. Yeah, I bet, bro. We bored him to death. Oh, he left us alone to play. He was tired, bro. I don't know how he does it that late. You know, I got a wife and a dog that's wanting me to come and get in bed though. You know, he doesn't have a girlfriend to yell at him like, hey, get off of there, come lay down with me. You know, his dogs will just lay on him wherever he's at. So we love Shane, bro. Shane's the GOAT. Shane is a great guy with Josh and Tinkerton. Yep. Yeah. I love my little tight crew that we got now, you know? We vibe, bro. It's pretty great. That's the thing that I enjoy the most out of everything that's happened to me and to us is the friendship that I've gained, you know, the family that I've gained, the people, like pretty much everybody that was at the barbecue, you know, it's like family at this point, you know? And a lot more people that weren't able to come to the barbecue. So, and before all this, you know, we didn't have like a super big social life outside of ourselves, me and my wife, you know, because of how insane Portland is, you know. So now that we've met all these amazing people, it's broadened our horizons, you know. It's pretty great. Him, Danny, and Chris are nocturnal. Yeah, Danny and Chris, they're fine though. They be blowing their glass and doing all kinds of stuff throughout the night. You know, I don't think Shane's used to staying up all night. Like, you know, we're used to going out during the day and shit. I've been wondering why when I call him at noon, he's still sleeping. I can't say shit though, because I like myself a good old nap. But the thing is with me is I wake up hella early in the morning. Like no matter what time I go to bed, I wake up hella early in the morning and I can't go back to sleep for a while. So I get up and I do my morning bathroom thing and then I'll take my dog out and I'll play a couple games of Call of Duty and then I'll be like, all right, I'm going to take a nap, you know, because I got up so early. I don't know why it's like an eternal alarm. It wakes me up hella early. Shout out Soupy. I don't know if he's in the chat, but he just texted me. All right, how many people we got in here? Should we start this video? Shout out Soupy. I don't know if he's in the chat, but he just texted me. You bum. Yeah. Oh, shit. So this video is about hood serial killers, right? These dudes right here, they claim to be hood serial killers that they... Well, you'll see. You'll see. I don't know how Tommy G gets in with these people. I mean, I'm sure I do. I kind of do know how he does because he's been doing this for a while and he's dealt with a lot of criminals and a lot of different scenarios, and he hides their identity and he doesn't expose it. You know, he's able to get in with these criminals and all these different types of people, and it's pretty crazy to watch.
How old were you when you think you did your first?
I would say probably about 14, 15. I always liked the guns and getting shit for free. I didn't never want to work for no money.
So would you say you have a passion for robbing and killing?
Yeah, I say I killed about 5 people in the past 2 or 3 years. So I know I'm going to hell.
In my conversations with them, they think of themselves as soldiers in a war.
How much do these cost?
It's anywhere from 5 to 30,000. It's depending on who the target is.
So would you say...
Could you imagine taking somebody's life for $5,000? Like, that is just bananas to me, the idea of that. And they're like proud of it.
There's a lot of guys walking around Milwaukee that have more than 3 bodies.
I know like multiple that got like 3, 4.
The FBI defines a serial killer as someone who has murdered 3 or more people. When we hear that, we traditionally think of white dudes like Jeffrey Dahmer or John Wayne Gacy that do freakish things to their victims. But after spending time in some of the most dangerous neighborhoods across America, I've developed a theory. I think there are many active serial killers in the country right now, and most of them are gangsters operating out of the hood. I mean, you've heard of them. The shooter, the guy that loves spinning the block. We hear about them in rap music all the time. And today, we meet with a guy who claims to be a hood hitman who engages in the business of murder for hire. And after months of FaceTiming with him, seeing him with new ghost guns nearly every time we speak.
I think he's absolutely correct. I think there's probably thousands of serial killers in this country. It's just they're not blasted on the news and it's not mainstream because they're not white. Because it's gang related and they don't consider gang related shootings as serial killers, which is bullshit, you know, because definitionally a serial killer is someone who kills 3 or more people in a separate occasion, you know, not all at once, because all at once would be a mass shooter, in 3 or more occasions, you know.
And hearing the details about hits that I feel only an insider would know, I suspect this guy might be for real. So join me today as we step into the mind of an alleged hitman and meet the underground gunsmith who builds him untraceable weapons for the job. But first, folks, a quick word from the sponsor of today's episode. Folks, news in my neighborhood recently broke that a burglary ring is operated by using drones to see if people are home and then the guys are just about to get here, but just so you know what's going through my head, to me, one of the toughest parts of the job is knowing who's legit and who's not. I've talked to these guys a bunch on the phone. I think they're real at what they say they do, but we're gonna figure that out together on this journey. Let's get them. What's up, fellas? What do you go by?
Better.
What do you got there?
You know, just MVP with a switch on it.
How do you guys feel about doing this interview?
Let's do it.
Why does OBS keep kicking YouTube out?
I guess my first question is, what made you guys interested in doing an interview?
Well, first of all, we want to spread the authentic news about everything. You know, it's a lot of fakers out here.
What would you guys describe your profession as?
I'm definitely a smacker. That's what we call it where I'm from. You know, I get paid to knock shit down, take a life, do whatever I gotta do. You want them dead, you call his phone. Where are you, niggas?
Jeff Wadford, thank you. Welcome to the Patriots. Let's go.
What part of the operation are you?
Gunsmith. I built the gun, showed the guns.
What area do you guys operate in?
We all around this motherfucker. I ain't gonna lie. We're not even just based in the city of we all around this motherfucker.
This fool got these fools running through an empty fucking warehouse, pretending like they're doing.
You know, adapting to the environment. I'm a real product of our environment. So before the money came around with this shit, I've been doing this shit just out of people that don't like me and, you know, I don't like them.
How young did you get involved in the streets?
I'll say early age, at like 13, 14, when I really started popping outside and acting with this shit.
What led to you becoming a 13, 14-year-old kid out in the streets?
I had what I wanted to have, I only had what I needed. I grew up around this shit. This shit mandatory. I grew up.
Man, this shit is dumb.
And where was your dad in this picture?
I don't know where the hell he was at. He was one of them disappearing, you know. I don't know.
How old were you when you think you did your first shooting?
I'll say probably like 14, 15. It's just a night outside. You know,
I don't know if I believe this dude, bro.
I get to shooting at people. You get what I'm saying?
It seems like you have a real passion for guns.
Yeah. Been watching guns since I was younger. Like 12 years old, I've been watching videos of guns. I had my dad walk the room before. I had a phone.
This dude seems like
YouTube and shit like that.
If I believe this dude,
how did you
bro?
meet Gunna?
My brother, my blood brother.
Your Thanksgiving dinner tables are scary as I bet, dude. The first time you were involved in a shooting, was it for money? Was it for free?
There was some niggas on the porch and we walking past, they trying to walk up to us like, y'all ain't from here, type shit. And they didn't know we had pipes, because we look young, we don't look like we got pipes, we young that day, so they just want to try to hold niggas around and shit.
Do you know if they died?
I don't know.
How many murders would you guess you've done over what amount of time?
5 people in the past 2 or 3 years.
Tell me how this career started.
It started where people know we getting shit done with the people that we already into with ourselves. These niggas get up so much. You know, damn, we need some help. You get what I'm saying? This shit started around 17.
So what he's saying is, people from different cliques than his are coming to them because they're too scared to do it. So they pay these people to do it for them, even though they're not in the same clique. It doesn't make no sense. I absolutely think this type of shit is 100% happening on a daily basis, especially in these super bad neighborhoods. You know what I mean? But I don't know how real these dudes. I mean, just because they have guns and they have ghost guns and that. I don't know.
People they're into it with. There's some niggas that's out here not trying to run into them people. They scared of jail. They don't know how to get away with shit. I'll do that. You know what I'm saying?
These fools are like,
devices in the car.
You'll see throughout the video. I didn't watch the whole video, I think, but you'll see throughout the video. These fools, their faces are covered, their voices are changed, but they're giving away hella details that the cops would be able to figure out exactly who they are just by the details that they're giving. They're 100% self. If they're really about that, they're self-snitching. They're not destined to be free on the streets for very much longer. That's for sure.
How do you know who it is that you're taking out?
I did a real good study of details before I go out there and just start with people. You know, innocent bystanders for no reason. They ain't the ones that fail for.
Mostly, are you taking out other street dudes?
Yes, that's 99%.
Tell me about your first murder for hire.
I think I was like 17, 18. I got 6 bands out of it.
Is there a particular hit you remember very well?
I seen a comment that said these fools made as much as a Taco Bell manager in a year by unaliving people. That's how much he made by killing 5 different people. That's how much he says he made, is about as much as a Taco Bell manager makes in a year. That is just I don't understand the thought processes of some of these people.
So he's like, I want my money back. And I'm like, no, I don't do refunds and nothing like that. And so he got Slick talking shit on the phone when they told that.
How many guys like you think there are in each hood around America?
Well, it's real normal.
It's real normal.
I know niggas that never got on social media a day in their life, man. Jersey numbers 10, 15 bodies for no reason, you know what I'm saying?
The number you just threw out, what kind of time span are we talking about?
8 years.
How do you prepare before you go out there?
As soon as they tell me who it is, I do my research for about a day or two. And I'm doing all type of Facebook investigations, Instagram investigations, before I come over there. In this city, we CCAP niggas. They got all your information on there from when you got locked up. Whatever you tell your lawyer and your arresting officers, the judge, your address, your full name, your date of birth, all the information is up there.
And would you say the majority of guys
I honestly don't believe these two idiots either. They're definitely grandizing it. They're definitely like, look, this Tommy G got these folks running through an empty fucking warehouse, pretending like they're doing something. He's so fucking.
That's a situation where some of these niggas don't like to come outside, so we gotta come in that bitch.
How do you get into someone's house?
Well, we kick doors, all type of shit. You wanna play inside the house games, we'll put a on your head. That's how niggas is. Niggas think with their dick all the time.
So you have a honeypot situation?
There is real gangsters that be doing this shit, but I guarantee those real gangsters, those real people about that life are never going to go on a show like this, even with their identity covered, and talk as much as these people do.
A lot of them. All she wants is a little piece of change.
Isn't that a pretty big witness at the crime?
She ain't gonna say shit.
Yeah, exactly. DLCG.
Have you ever been shot at?
Yeah, a lot of times.
You guys ever been
Watch.
I got hit one time. I got hit in my arm. I got stomach shots too, but that shit don't count. Man. That shit.
They're blood brothers. They say that they're blood brothers. Just that alone is enough for the cops to identify these motherfuckers. I guarantee it, bro.
As soon as the money clear, we in route.
But what makes you do that rather than, say, become a welder?
I'm a felon, but I can't do all that shit. And then,
So the cops already know who this dude is. He's a felon.
Growing up, I always liked the guns and getting shit for free. I ain't never.
Yeah, that's all they want is shit for
So
free.
would you say you have a passion for robbing and killing?
Yeah, I started robbing at like 12 years old. I still do it to this day, but I was stealing out the store with my mom was shopping and shit. That's 8-year-old shit.
And did your mom encourage that?
I can't say shit about that because I did that shit when I was a kid. I stole out of stores when I was a kid. I was a badass little kid. So I can't be a hypocrite. But I grew up. I grew out of it.
How many
I
murders
changed
do you
my
think
life.
you've seen in your career?
100.
I did a lot of stupid shit as a kid, but I'm not proud of a lot of the stupid shit I did. You know? And I damn sure didn't kill nobody. You know, drill rap. I think it'll talk about it in this. Drill rap has been devastating to the culture, to their neighborhoods. You know, drill rap is, so many people die every year because of that shit.
What is the legal definition of a serial killer?
A serial killer is a person that kills in a series and not as opposed to like a mass murderer who walks into a school or a church and shoots as many people as they can.
How many bodies does someone have to be considered a serial killer?
You know, I would say that you have to have more than 2 or 3, 4.
So this is one of those stories that's really hard to verify. Fentanyl dealers, hey, send me the fentanyl. I can see it on FaceTime. It's easy. Every time I call this guy, he has a new ghost gun. The last time I called him, he had a rapper's chain that he had, I guess, stolen by force at gunpoint. So he definitely does shit. The question is, are his numbers inflated? So we're gonna talk to some street guys that I think can give us some clarification that maybe this guy's legit, maybe he's not, because I really don't know in this story. Many men wish death on me. What's up, big dog?
Nike Tech today.
Mm-hmm. What's up, Jay Gritz? How you doing, brother? Good to meet you. Okay, you said it before. How did you label yourself?
Street nigga.
I wanted to get a couple
Street nigga. You can say
opinions.
nigga.
No, I can't. But I wanted to get a couple opinions on this alleged hitman that I've met. If someone wants someone dead, does it make sense to go outside of your clique and ask someone that you don't even know to bring you in?
You know what I'm saying? That's what I was saying more than like the personal relationship shit. Like,
No,
they
it
have
doesn't
to
make no
really
sense.
know each other to even put that trust and say, "Oh, I trust brother." Go
Guns don't kill people.
and not
Yeah.
tell on me.
Because niggas
Right.
can't keep their mouth shut anyway. So nigga know about, know.
So the chance of someone keeping their mouth shut for 10, 15 plus murders is very unlikely.
I ain't never seen shit like that. Like here, I done seen niggas get 5 and over the course of 20 years.
Do you know that to be considered a
they
serial
damn sure
killer,
ain't bragging
that means
about it
3
to
bodies
everybody.
or more? So would you say there's a lot of guys walking around Milwaukee that have more than 3 bodies?
I know like multiple motherfuckers that got like 3, 4.
What to you are the key parts of having a successful mission?
You can't have your identity shown. Wear some outstanding shit like wear a wig or some shit. Wear big ass satin
Leave in, what up,
clothes
bro?
or some shit like that. Ride the block, see who in it. I get out the car down the street. We walking up to this motherfucker and we fucking everybody up on the toilet. I'm gonna snake some more money for this extra thing.
You kill the whole family.
We gonna fuck them up. It depends.
Yeah,
bro. I ain't trying
fucking
to do shit
right,
to no
They
bro.
also say that when there are witnesses around the guy that they have to hit, that they also sometimes take out the witnesses. Is that common in a hood hit?
Not super common, really, because it does happen, but killing all of the witnesses is not typical, I would say, in gang hits, because
That's just
you may
gonna
only
make
be
them
20
look for
people
you
on the
even
street. What
harder.
you're counting on there is the high likelihood that people are just not going to cooperate with the police.
For those doubting that somebody can get away with multiple bodies, consider this. In many cities across the
This is
United
crazy
States, the
stats.
clearance rate, or in other words, the solve rate for murders can be
This is crazy stats right here. Listen to this.
ridiculously low, especially during the early 2020s COVID period, which was a golden era for getting away with crime. For example, in recent years, Chicago has had clearance rates as low as 30% and Flint, Michigan as low as 21%. And keep in mind, in gang-dominated neighborhoods, these are places that typically don't work with police. So to me, the idea of someone getting away with a few murders, while shocking, is certainly plausible. If their goal is to remain under detection by killing everyone at a scene, does that not put them at the top of the food pyramid for priority for police?
Oh yeah, I should check that out.
Absolutely, for sure.
Let's go further into their tactics.
I can't say
they
your
say
name,
they
Rick.
also outfit their guns with switches when they do that. Is that a good tactic or a dumb tactic?
Unless they've got military training and know how
I'll
to
check
handle
out Fat
automatic
Patriot's
weapon,
video after
usually
this.
Doesn't work out that great for them, you know what I mean?
I don't really
Automatic
want to watch
weapons
it
are
though
a lot
on stream.
more
I don't give a
difficult
fuck
to deal
about
with
Fat
than
Boy
people
with the
think. You can
big
do a lot of
penis
damage
ears.
quickly.
So these guys also said that if they're taking someone out, if there's witnesses around that person, that they shoot everybody at the crime scene. Does that sound legit?
That's what you supposed to do.
That's what you should do. I mean,
What?
I wouldn't say you should.
What?
I mean, it's not what you should do, but if you want to get away, that's
It's just Rick.
the way.
I feel like that turns
What up,
one shooting
Shane?
into a mass shooting.
These people are crazy. So if you get paid to unalive one person and there's multiple people, don't you think you should wait until that person is by himself instead of trying to take out every... Bro, these dudes are... I don't believe it.
Exactly.
You don't think that brings a lot more attention to the scene?
It probably do, but it's
It probably
illegal
do.
already, so what do we care?
How much do these cost?
It's anywhere from 5 to 30,000. It depends on who the target is.
What's typical?
Typical 10,000. Niggas be wanting the rap niggas out to do. That's 10,000 right there.
Your most common client is a rapper that wants another rapper dead?
Yeah.
Why don't they just do it themselves?
It's a lot of people that feel like they too noticeable. They know me, or they scared, or I ain't trying to go risk my freedom for this shit.
Ain't no other...
It's a ballpark of excuses, bro.
Ain't no other gang, ain't no other clique gonna go outside of their gang, outside of who they trust, and go to somebody else from another neighborhood or another clique or another gang or whatever and hire them because they don't want to go to jail. That's just not how things work. That doesn't make no sense.
I don't know what's going on unless I want my money, you know what I'm saying?
How do they communicate?
Fronting
with
for
you?
street cred. This is going to get these fools hurt, if anything. This ain't going to give them street cred. Going on here and telling the world their secrets, going on here and telling the world how shit happens in these neighborhoods and getting all this fucking publicity is just going to get them hurt. It's not going to get them street cred. You don't think there's going to be street people that would recognize the dude, not this dude because his face, this dude was at least smart enough to cover up his whole face, but the other dude in the white hoodie, you don't think they're going to notice? Anybody that watches this, the street people are going to know who that dude is just by his eyes and the way he's talking and saying that this is his brother, and just by the shit that they say that, like, yeah, nah.
Out of state shit, and I gotta go out of state for some shit.
If these fools have really unalived a bunch of people for other people, and now they're online talking about doing it and how they did it and when they did it, you don't think they're going to be like, oh, no, we got to take care of these fools before they get busted and tell on us? It's crazy to me. Claiming gang life when you aren't is a death sentence, exactly. And self-snitching on yourself. Self-snitching is still snitching. You're snitching on the whole situation. It's just going to bring attention to places that these people don't want attention in.
It's a pull up, bro. I'll chop it up with you.
You'll travel out of state to do this?
Yeah, but I need a deposit.
And you'll do that for 10 grand?
I'll do it. Hell yeah, that's free money for me, bro.
Can you tell me about the psychological profile of these hood hitmen
The
that are
governor
just willing to kill
debate
someone
in California.
for very low
I don't
amounts
give
of
a
money?
fuck
In
about
my
California.
conversations with them,
Zip-a-doodle.
they think of themselves
Zip-a-doodle
as
is
soldiers in a war.
California
they don't think
is
of themselves as
done
serial
for.
killers, certainly. They think of serial killers as sexual deviants. I mean, when you grow up in poverty without hope, or without, structure in your life, and your structure becomes the street, and it's violence, and that's all you see, and that's what you get rewarded for. In fact, I would argue places like the west side of Chicago, the south side of Chicago are war zones in a lot of ways. It becomes glorified inside the community, inside of those tight-knit circles of the people you're looking up to.
Ralph,
You're a 10,
what up,
11-year-old
you
kid. The guys you're looking up to may be, unfortunately, you know, the 17, 18-year-old guys, and that's what they're talking about, you know, putting this guy down, running up on these guys and that, and it starts to
You're not wrong, bro.
And then you see it, and if you grow up in Garfield Park, and you haven't seen a dead body by the time you're 12 or 13, you are an anomaly. These guys are really, for all intents and purposes, are
so wild,
that put
bro.
guys in prison who killed more people than most serial killers.
Ground Zero, they say their crimes out loud because it's a way for their enemies to know that they can get away with it. Yeah, that makes sense too. Thank you, Shane. Thank you for the $5 super chat, big dog. Super chat train.
Driving down the street, we get ready to take boat somewhere and shit. But right before we pull up to the motherfucking house, we see police on one side of the street, the other on the other side.
Listen.
One of them came down the street and did U-turn and flagged our shit. We pull over, and they ass hop out. We trying to hide guns and shit.
They can find out who they are just by what he's saying right now, you guys. Listen.
Car, they gonna put that bitch on you, type shit. It was people in the back seat and in the front, so we couldn't really hide the guns. Well, they took us to jail and shit. They took one of the guns they thought was a rare gun. It was an M&P with a switch. That motherfucker was legal. They ended up letting me out like a few days to a week.
Switches ain't legal.
They kept the gun and shit. They ain't trying to release no guns to me. And right now, the site that I got the FRT from, they ain't selling them no more to the ATF, like, investigate the device, how it worked for real.
But the ATF connected a lot of guns that were used in murder weapons to you?
Yeah, I had a lot of guns out there when I got at least over.
Look at this dude straight telling on himself. Bro, this fool's gonna be arrested pretty soon. We're gonna be seeing videos of this dude in jail. Watch, I guarantee.
I'll have motherfuckers lined up for like the next day or the same day.
I guarantee it.
It'll already be sold.
They also say they ditch guns in bodies of water, or they break the guns down, scramble the parts, and resell the different assembled guns to YNs. Do you think that is a good strategy to get rid of the guns?
It's generally a good strategy. Reusing them is a less of a good strategy because
it's a less of a good strategy.
You always run the risk that there's maybe some common
Cali gangs are different than Midwest gangs.
Led back. You know what I mean?
What do you think is unique about your approach?
No, I think that Tommy G is being real. These people are playing like that. Even Tommy G says, I don't know how real these people are. You can hear the doubt in his voice when he's talking to the other two dudes, the one with the no shirt and the blue. You can hear the doubt in his voice, like, hey, would this really be happening? You know, so Tommy G doesn't know if these people are real or not, but come on. Come on. No real person that does this kind of shit is going to put their life and their livelihood on the line just for a fucking video for some clout. And he doesn't even really get clout because his face is covered. You know what I mean? Doesn't make no sense.
Law enforcement.
Bro, I done got investigated for this shit before. Multiple times, dude. Like I said, the phones and the motherfucking
if he's
camera actions and shit like that, that'd be the thing, bro.
What do you mean by hidden identities and camera actions?
Like, don't catch yourself on fucking camera.
Duh.
Stupid. And then when you do this hit with this outfit, you never wear it again. Like, I always tell people you wear a different size shoe.
See, giving up all the secrets.
Forensics. They taking down every detail possible. DNA, shoe size.
No, I'm from Stockton. I'm not from Sacramento.
Say they use guns that they mill themselves. We watch them do. They never touch the body of their victim. They sometimes wear shoes that are different sizes to each crime, and they never carry a cell phone during the crime.
They haven't said what they're claiming, what gang they're in.
That's a good strategy. You're taking a lot of the forensic stuff out of it, right? Cell phone towers now have been for a long time. If you can track a suspect's cell phone to a scene, That's really good circumstantial evidence based on other factors.
Plot twist,
weapons,
they're both actually
all
managers
of
at Taco
that,
Bell.
you know, if all of that is true, then yeah.
These are supposed street hood serial killers. These people supposedly are killers for hire by gangs. Other gangs hire them to do their dirty work is what they're trying to say. I don't know who they are, but I'm sure the feds know who they are at this point.
But you could read that in a book, you know what I mean?
You know, I've traveled to a lot of different types of people, cultures. I've pretty much seen it all in the United States. One observation I've had is that backdooring, you don't find it anywhere else more than in a black hood. People willing to kill each other, willing to rob their friend for like the lowest amount of money. Like you don't see that in Asian neighborhoods. You don't see that in white neighborhoods. What do you think that is?
That is true.
Let's listen to that again. Hold on.
Yeah, but you could read that in a book, you know what I mean?
You know, I've traveled to a lot of different types of people, cultures. I've pretty much seen it all in the United States. One observation I've had is that backdooring, you don't find it anywhere else more than in a black hood. People willing to kill each other, willing to rob their friend for like the lowest amount of money. Like you don't see that in Asian neighborhoods. You don't see that in white neighborhoods. What do you think that is?
Well,
Listen to what he says.
I'm gonna bring up an example. Every time I went to jail and shit, like, if you observe, when the black people come in, the other black people looking at them some type of way, trying to find out, oh, this nigga a rat, this nigga a snitch, I'm on his ass, I'm gonna take something from him, this and that. When the white people come in, they greet their people, they all together chilling. When the Mexican people come in, hey, you good, they help them with their shit, everybody chilling. I really feel like with black people, it's a jealous and envy thing. We always got AR-15s, micro AR-15s to be specific. We ain't have no big ass guns.
Why?
He's not wrong about, I mean, I think they are in California. I don't know exactly where they're at, what state. I don't think it says what state, but California prison is like that, you know? When white boys come in, the other white boys come up and they're like, hey, what's up, homeboy? Where you from? Where's your 128G? Where's your paperwork? You know, they get your paperwork and they be like, all right, do you have everything you need? If you need anything, you need deodorant, you need shower shoes. They get all that for you when you first get there, you know. But and the Southerners and the Northerners do the same thing, you know. But I mean, honestly, I don't know 100%. How the blacks, I don't know how they propagate in prison, like their politics inside, you know, but I do know they didn't check paperwork. They didn't check each other's paperwork. So there was sex offenders and everything on their side because they didn't check paperwork, you know, like, and yeah, they're not wrong.
Why is that?
It's the easiest to get around with. It's concealable.
How many guns do you think you've sold in your life?
Definitely over 3,000 guns.
So you know your way around guns?
Yeah, for sure.
If a gun you sell is used in a hit, what do you think about it?
Some are used
I
in
do
a hit.
think I agree.
I
agree, Sam Tiger, that these dudes are lying, but I think Tommy is sincere. He's just getting the story out of them, you know. I don't think he completely believes them either.
We cannot show this full video on YouTube, but if you would like to see this whole video, raw and uncut on Patreon, use code AR15 for 50% off your first month on the site. Thank you and enjoy. Now back to the episode. We saw with our own eyes ghost guns and the million of those guns. Do you think that alone suggests these guys have some level of experience in something nefarious?
Yeah, I mean, they have other factors. Like, I mean, they
just because you can build a ghost gun don't mean you're out there using it.
But beyond that, they may be selling bullshit guns, right? They may be convincing people that these are really, you know, something special. So it could be a scam, but it also may be an active thing that works. So they make these guns to sell them.
It sounds like you could literally not give a shit if this ends up being a weapon that someone uses to kill someone with.
No. There's many weapons out there. The government sell weapons that kill people. It just depends on the person.
It feels like you kind of have a cold heart towards the world.
Yeah.
Do you believe in heaven or hell?
No.
Are you scared of going to hell?
No. I told my mama many times, I know I'm going to hell.
Why do you say that?
Well, at least he knows.
Shit that I did. Just leave me there.
Do you have any fear of prison?
I'm not going to prison. I'd rather bang it out with the police. I'm gonna be reborn, so.
How old were you when you saw your first dead body?
14.
Did he pay
And your
taxes
home
on
life
that?
at this time was all right?
Yeah. Are you weren't being abused? Nope.
Yeah,
wasn't a man
Stockton's
in the
off the
house
hook,
beating the
bro. I'm
shit out
so
of
glad
you.
I got out of there. So glad I got out of
A
California.
lot of people look at the impact of drill rap on culture, and they say that it's a cancer, that it's leading to so many murders and deaths
Their
and
guys
shootings
have a flag that come out
and
the end that
poverty
say bang.
and f***ed up situations. Do you think drill rap is a negative impact on our society?
Just Ryan, what up, big dog? I see you.
Play a big ass part because everybody want to fit in, bro.
If a mom gets killed, if a kid gets killed, and
He was like, I don't need no blur.
and a super street guy gets killed, the super street guy is less prioritized simply because he's not as innocent.
If this is the murder guy, he's a really bad guy.
Gun on the hoodie says it all.
We
Yeah.
really want to solve that because he's likely killed by another really bad guy. And the truth of the matter, however harsh this sounds, if you solve that murder and get the bad guy who killed him, now you've taken
Yeah,
two bad guys off.
I mean, I
or
grew
two
up in
bad guys
California.
have
I was
taken
born in
and
Green
taken off
Bay,
the street.
but I was.
We're going to get more
I grew up in
cooperation
Stockton
if some mom who's
my whole life,
home
pretty
with
much.
groceries gets caught in a crossfire.
I've been up
We
here
just
for like
are,
9
because
years.
Even the
9 years.
the neighborhoods that don't want to cooperate as much with us are going to be more cooperative because that's
Homie has a
wrong
Draco,
on its face.
don't you know?
Where, you know, if you're living in some of these really challenged, underprivileged neighborhoods, and you're just trying to get by life day to day, mind your own business, stay alive, and the guy you know
John
who's
Rocks,
the
what
bad
up
guy down the street
to
gets
Canada?
shot, it's
Thank
like,
you, bro.
I mean, I've had these very specific conversations with people like, come on, detective. I mean, that guy's been a pain in my ass, been a pain in the neighborhood for years, and now he's gone. You want me to put myself at risk to help you out?
Makes
Would
sense.
you? I mean, you know, like, and how do you argue that point?
Tell me more about the attitude.
Makes
Like,
sense.
we gotta do what we gotta do, as if like you have no other options.
San Fernando
At
Valley,
some
let's
point,
go.
We ain't had no other options, and then it's just at this point now, we got somewhat of an option, but we so deep in this shit, like changing up now.
Bro, you're gonna be in prison in the next year, bro. I guarantee these dudes are gonna be locked up in the next year for the rest of their lives. Locked up or on a t-shirt. And that's sad, bro. It's honestly sad, bro.
So your
Like-
neighbors must hear a lot of strange noises coming from your house.
Yeah, probably.
Do you live in situations like duplexes or apartments where you have neighbors that can hear through the walls?
A lot of the banging shit, I do it in like a closed door far back of the house where people can't really hear. Man, most of the time, I probably do this shit in the garage or something.
Just
Would you feel bad if you
self-snitching,
killed me?
bro.
I wouldn't kill you.
Why not? What if someone paid you to do it?
I'll kill them for trying to pay to do.
Oh yeah, shut up.
So obviously we don't want anyone to die in the filming of this video, so we're gonna do a recreation. I asked them to simulate what does a real life call look like if you're negotiating a hit. So what you're about to
Look
see
what he got these
is that.
motherfuckers to do. Look at, they are not good actors, bro.
Who's that?
I guess I did watch more of it than I thought I did.
Yo, what I was finna say, hey, I got a big move going on, man. There's a lot of money on the floor right now. I need y'all to meet me at the big house. All right, bet. So we on the way. All right, bet. Make y'all wait. Be here in like 5 minutes. Yeah, no. What's that word, brother? Yo, brothers. What's going on? We chillin', man. What we talking about today? Man, I got action figures, so, shit.
They
I'm
look
gonna
so
give this nigga,
stupid
man,
with those guns
shit.
sticking out the front of their
Dick.
shit.
This nigga been running off his shit, though. Yeah, cause people be on shit. But I think he really be at his big house on shit. I'm finna show you a picture, matter of fact. Yeah. Here you go, right here. Got a couple of them. Let's see the whole page where this nigga from.
Oh, this shit is. This just makes it seem even less for real, bro. This shit just makes it seem like I don't know.
What's his last name? Say. It's his address right here. So what the fuck? Like, what really happened though? I've been getting this nigga on dick, but I've been throwing extras. Everything that I've been giving the nigga, everything I pay, he ain't paid back.
This is what a white boy thinks the hood is like.
Man, we talking about.
These people are the ones making it look like that. You know, I mean.
We could do 2250. We sticking with 25.
I don't know, bro. This shit ain't helping at all.
Alright, what's up?
Mikey, what up, bro? Hello to you too.
Alright, don't play with that money, man. You know how this shit is.
Can I don a mask, break out a few of my guns, and get Tommy G to come to my house?
But it's gonna be on your mind all the time. When you take a motherfucking life, like same day, next day, your ass don't want to really go outside. You gonna feel like weak. Like, damn, why I do this to this motherfucker?
But you feel regret usually for the day or two after?
Yeah, because you gonna see your family online crying and shit. And some of these people you might not even know you can really be related to. Because it happened before.
Has there ever been a job that's haunted you or woken you up at night thinking about it?
I ain't gonna say it woke me up at night, but I do think about shit all the time. I be thinking about that shit sometimes. Because some of these people that I knew personally, like you said, I was like, damn, I needed the money. It's back doors a bit.
Why don't you get a job at Taco Bell? You'll make just as much money,
What do you
dummy.
think about that somebody's life was worth money for you?
I don't think too much of it, though, because they'd do the same with me if they had the opportunity to.
No.
What do you see the next 10, 15 years?
Yeah, I see myself in the next 10, 15 years at a point in life where we don't gotta do this shit. I don't wanna live in the United States anymore. I gotta get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, because the feds are coming for you, boy.
Folks, that was a wild episode. I just want to say there's things
Oh, yeah,
I can
the
watch on
key of-
YouTube.
bro, this
texts
will
I've
make
gotten, videos
a
I've
lot
gotten,
of good
but
movies.
I feel confident I delivered exactly what we said in the title.
This fool. Oh, you know what? Is it still happening?
We're going to all be honest about the problem. The problem is California state government. California state government created this housing problem. It is not that we can't afford a house. It's that builders can't afford to build a house because of the excessive regulations on our building industry, along with every other business and industry in California. On day one, I remove all of those regulations from our building industry that will allow as much as a third, sometimes more depending on location, to a third of the price of a home to be removed off of that $900,000 price tag just by getting rid of the government red tape. Instead of 3 to 5 years, it's going to take 3 to 5 months to build a house.
Yeah,
we will encourage our builders to build. When we take the restrictions away, builders build homes. We do not have a land problem in California. We have a management problem. We have a government problem that we absolutely must take away. The restrictions, the big ones, all the regulations, but CEQA, Coastal Commission, CARB, all of those on our building and building industry will be removed.
Mr. Bianco, thank you. Mr. Hilton, same question
I
to
don't
you.
know if I
can
get in trouble for restreaming this or not, so I'm going to flip it.
Housing affordability in California, God help us. It was
Steve
just
Hilton,
rated the
Republican
least
candidate
affordable
for
city
governor
for housing in the world. That is completely the wrong answer. The right answer is my plan, which was the first plan that I put forward in this campaign. Number one, we have to end this outrageous hidden tax on housing. They call it impact fees.
What?
It can
There
add
was
up to
an armed
20%
truck robbery
to the cost
yesterday?
of a home. Secondly, we have to reduce the...
There was an armed truck robbery yesterday in Philadelphia. What?
Extreme environmental regulations that make it 3 or 4 times as expensive to build the exact same home in California as in neighboring
Katie Porter
states.
on the
Number
end is
three,
the worst.
we
You
have
should
to
see the
end
video of her
the exploitative
berating one of her
union
assistants.
lawsuits that are filed to block housing that extract project labor agreements that make the cost so much higher. And number 4, we have to end the war on single-family
That don't sound
homes so
American
that we
to
can
me.
build the housing we need for young families. We need more starter homes in California.
Mr. Hilton, thank you. Mr. Mahan, I'll give you 15 seconds to respond to Mr. Hilton.
Yeah, thanks. San Jose has been the most expensive city in the country since before I was born because of all the jobs created there.
I don't even know.
I know
like,
that because my parents had to move 50
should
miles away, even though my mom
really
grew up there just to
care
afford
about
to buy a home.
California right now.
What I did as mayor, though, was take ownership of the problem, unlike all the talk we're hearing on this stage. We reduced fees, sped up permitting, and now we have thousands of homes under construction.
Mr. Mahan, thank you. Mr. Steyer, same question to you. What is your plan to lower the cost of housing? You have 60 seconds.
Look, the biggest problem in California is that Californians can't afford to live here, and the number
Are
one
these
problem
rhinos?
there is housing. And I've seen people who have full-time jobs who are still having to live in their car. But if we're going to solve the housing problem, and I've said we'll build 1 million units, it's not a silver bullet the way some of these people are suggesting. It's silver buckshot. Yes, we have to shorten permitting and make it less expensive. We made a first step on it last year. We'll make more. 2, we have to redo zoning so that we build denser and around public transportation. 3, we need to actually drop the cost per square foot of building. There are ways to do it. Industrial construction away from site and then putting it together on the site drops the cost per square foot by 1/3. And lastly, one of the biggest reasons it's hard to build houses here is the cities and counties don't want it because they can't afford to take care of the people who are in the houses.
Who's going to win?
I said
don't
on
know.
day one, I'll call for a special election to close a corporate tax loophole. That will fund it. That will get the cities and counties on our side. The realtors are mad at me.
You know, you want to hear something funny that I just remembered? Ow, I just kicked my fucking leg on my fucking desk with my fucking toe. Oh, that hurt. The Brit, you want to elect, I don't know. Was he born in America? He doesn't sound like it. Was he born in America, Lee? Because he can't be a Brit and be the governor of California. He has to be American. You know, American. Okay, you want to hear something funny as fuck? We went to Winco right now and got a bunch of shit for sandwiches and stuff, right? Me and Shane. Oh, by the way, you guys should tune into the live. I'll probably just be live on YouTube tomorrow morning around 9 or 10. I'm going to be at Shane's house. And we're going to be live streaming. We're going to be making a bunch of sandwiches and making sack lunches to go pass out to the homeless in the afternoon once we get done making everything. We got a bunch of shit, you know. But when we got to Winco, we just got in and we were walking through the fruit aisle, right? Or to the fruit aisle. And there was this Asian mom and her 2 little kids. And I had this shirt on and I was walking by and the older of the 2 kids, he looks at me and he points at my shirt and he said, "Donald Trump." He said, "Donald Trump." And I was like, "Yeah, Donald Trump." And the mom looked at me and gave me 2 thumbs up. Bro, it was the funniest shit ever. That kid was excited. He was like, "Donald Trump." Like, he loved Donald Trump. It was so freaking funny, dude. I was dying laughing. Me and Shane were laughing like the whole time we were in the store after that. I'll never forget that. "Donald Trump," you know, like, it was adorable, bro. It was pretty funny, dude. And then the rest of the time we were in the store, alls we got was a bunch of dirty looks from all the blue hairs. You know, it was pretty funny. Mom of the year. I was like, "Good shit, Donald Trump, let's go." I said, "That's a smart kid right there." Yeah, mom of the year, babe. Valley Ray. I need to link up with Valley Ray and get a bunch of chicken and get them to make it and we could go pass it all out together. I need to text them. Where's my other phone? But yeah, Valley Ray's been doing giving back to his community for a long time, way before I ever did. You know, and he does it because he loves what he does. You know, and you can't say anything different about that, you know. He does it because he loves his community and he loves the people. He's been dealing with the same people for years, you know. I give Valley Ray all the respect for what he does. We're gonna be making peanut butter and jelly, and we're gonna be making ham and turkey and cheese sandwiches. Ham and cheese and turkey and cheese. And we got a little like ice chest, like a soft ice chest, and we got some ice packs to keep all the sandwiches cold while we're out passing them out.
Fighting me, but that's the only way we drive down housing costs for the people of California.
Mr. Steyer, thank you. Ms. Porter, same question to you. What is your plan to lower the cost of housing? You have 60 seconds.
Housing is personal to me. I've sat across from thousands of Californians who are facing eviction or foreclosure. When I served the state of California for 3 years under then Attorney General, now former Vice President Kamala Harris, and I held the big banks' feet to the fire for predatory lending. I've also questioned CEOs of big banks about how the huge slice that housing takes out of their paycheck. Housing has been my #1 issue since I launched this race, and I have the deepest background in housing policy of any candidate on this stage. The key is to build faster. If we built at the same speed in California as states like Colorado, we could take 10 or 20% off the cost of housing.
Stupid.
That's real money back in families' pockets. It's not a couple bucks, it's hundreds of dollars. I just want to comment, Mr. Becerra, you have all these lovely plans, but there are never any numbers, any revenue plan, any details, anything that pushes on the status quo. It's just all due, but the
Sacred
how,
Tara,
the
what
why,
up? God bless
the
you,
how
bro.
much, it's all missing.
Ms. Porter, thank you. Mr. Becerra, I'll give you 15 seconds to respond to Ms. Porter's comments.
It's very rich to hear from someone who's never had to actually run a government. I have had to balance 4 budgets over the course of my time as Secretary of Health and Human Services. A budget, by the way, that was larger than the budget of the state of California. When I was Attorney General of the state of California, I had a fight, whether it was a corporate
I'm excited for tomorrow too,
attempt
Shane,
to try to take
for
advantage
sure.
of Californians, or whether it was the Trump administration. I got in and I filed lawsuits. They weren't frivolous lawsuits. I won most of my cases because I knew how to put down the details and the facts. So it's easy to say
That's a
you
lot
haven't
longer
done
than
this.
15
it's
seconds.
easier to prove that you actually have.
May I respond?
Mr. Becerra, Ms. Porter, we have to move on. We have a lot of questions that our viewers have for us next, and Frank is going to move on to those because we have
she
a lot
could
to
have
cover
answered in the
little
time that you took you to explain
some
that.
questions that we assigned at random to each of you in a random draw. Mr. Becerra, we're actually going to begin with you. Ashley from Paris wants to know, what is one specific cost, gas, groceries, utilities, childcare, that you will lower in your first year, and exactly how will you do it? You have 30 seconds.
Ashley, one of the things that I will do immediately is I will freeze utility rates and I will freeze home insurance policy premiums, because I believe it is time that Californians had an understanding of why so many of them are paying so much for both of those charges that they have when they have a home. It is time for us to get behind the curtain and understand why these industries are charging Californians so much, and in some cases dropping Californians from their insurance policy without
from
explanation,
any of them so
charging
far.
twice as much. It is time for us to freeze those so Californians benefit.
Mr. Becerra, thank you. Mr. Bianco, you get the next question. This is Greg from Placerville, who wants to know, what is your position on automatic license plate readers, flock safety systems, and broader issues of mass surveillance? You have 30 seconds.
This is
I'm a
the
huge proponent
governor.
of
This is the
flock
California
camera systems, and not.
This is the California Republican governor debate. So these are all the candidates that are trying to get into the primaries for the governor of California. I'm pretty sure.
Flock, but the type that the
it's live.
LPRs
We're a little
for
behind
law
on the
enforcement. They have been a
live, but
game
it's
changer for law
live. Yeah,
enforcement. It's not about
because I keep pausing
the
it.
misconception. I want to ensure him. We don't know you're driving the car from those license plate readers. They read license plates. That's it, and we are able to find criminals who use vehicles for that.
Mr. Bianco, thank you. Mr. Hilton, you get the next question. This is Carlos from Los Angeles, who wants to know, what are you going to do for California schools? You have 30 seconds.
It's an absolute scandal that we have just under half of our students can read at grade level. For math, it's 35%. Here's the plan. We're going to learn from what works in other states and around the world. The best way to teach kids to read, phonics. We're going to have that in every school. The most important thing is that you learn to read by the end of 3rd grade. Just as Mississippi has done.
Republican primary debate,
help over the summer if you can't, but if you don't meet the test, you repeat the grade, and then you can move forward. And we're going to hold teachers and schools accountable
Mr. Hilton,
for their performance.
Thank you very much. Nikki?
Mr. Steyer, Sophia from Folsom wants to know, what is your stance on remote work? You have 30 seconds.
So remote work is enabling people not to make these huge commutes. And it is a way for us to save money. It is a way to keep people off the roads. So I am a supporter of remote work.
Nah,
period.
fuck that,
but let
bro.
me say this as someone who has run lots of organizations and lots of teams.
Remote
There's
work
reasons to be in the
in our
office that
government
involve human.
No, I don't want. No, I don't. No. Remote work. If you work in government and you need to be down there actually working from home. Come on, we all know that shit. I mean, I'm sure there's some places that working from home is the real deal. But come on, working for the government and working from home, we all know what's going to happen. They're going to be playing video games. They're going to be doing anything other than work. They're not going to have no proof of the work that they're doing, and then that's just tax dollars going to people that are just sitting at home doing nothing. No, I don't agree with that. Sit your ass down. Remote work. Nope. Only in certain cases, like I'm sure there's jobs that you do from remote home, like I don't even know, but the 99% of people should be inside at the place working. Remote work equals no work. Yes, I agree.
Interaction that involve mentoring, that involve the growth of young people. So when you're running an organization, yes, you have to take into account costs, but more than that, you have to account for the human growth of a culture and a team.
Mr. Steyer, thank you. Ms. Porter, Toby from Costa Mesa wants to know, do you agree with schools not notifying parents if their child identifies as a different gender? You have 30 seconds.
It is between a parent and a child when a child chooses to have that conversation. The job of our educators is to teach them to read by 3rd grade. That is a really important benchmark to help them make the jump from Algebra 1 to Algebra 2, which
gender
opens
identity
the door
shouldn't be a thing in our fucking elementary
jobs.
schools.
These are conversations for kids and parents to have with each other and their healthcare providers. This is not a role for schools to be policing personal decisions.
No kid is trans.
Thank you. Mr. Mahan, John Carlo from Los Angeles asks this. How would you communicate with Donald Trump if he attacks you directly or policies valued in California? You have 30 seconds.
Well, just as I've done as mayor of San Jose, when the Trump administration threatens California's people, our funding, our values, I'll fight back. We use the courts in San Jose. We've sued this administration over a dozen times. We've funded legal services for our immigrant neighbors.
Here, bro.
We have used every tool at our disposal. But I will also find ways to invite federal agencies to help us rebuild LA, reduce fire risk. We need a partnership, and we need to find common ground with this administration on certain issues.
Mr. Mahan, thank you.
On all issues, not certain issues.
We'd like to move on to our next question. Many Californians cannot get home insurance anymore, or their premiums have skyrocketed. Insurance companies blame wildfire risk and catastrophic losses. Many have left the state. California's FAIR Plan, a last resort option, is being swamped and is becoming a crisis for the state. Mr. Bianco, this round begins with you. What is your plan to attract private insurance companies back to California? You have 60 seconds.
Again, we're going to be honest about the problem. The problem is our California state government, is our California state regulations that are affecting the insurance companies. Various regulations affecting the insurance companies, but particularly, they told us why they were leaving. They told Governor Newsom for 5 years in a row that they were going to leave if he did not change the environmental policies and protections that prevented our fire agencies from creating defensible space around our homes, our cities, and our buildings.
It's reversed because I don't know.
They told him they were going to lose cities and they couldn't afford to cover it, so they were going to have to leave. So the answer is remove the regulations, let the fire agencies create that defensible space. We are being absolutely controlled by environmental activism in this state that runs every single regulatory board, and as governor, I will remove that special interest from California state government.
Mr. Bianco, thank you for that. Mr. Hilton, what is your plan to attract private insurance companies back to California? You have 60 seconds.
We have to be clear about why they left. They left because of Democrat policies and wrong-headed regulation. Now, some of those mistakes have been corrected. The ability for insurance companies to price in future risk, the ability of insurance companies to account for reinsurance costs. But we still have wrong regulation. And this is the three-point plan that
Steve
I've
Hilton
announced
and
to
the
fix
sheriff
this
are the two
absolutely
Republicans.
Massive problem that is crushing so many families across California. Number one, we've got to get people off the FAIR plan. It was designed for about 100,000 people. Now you've got over 600,000. We've got to work proactively to get those people onto
Even this
commercial
guy wants
insurance.
amnesty
Number
for
two,
illegals?
we have
What?
to stick to the regulatory framework that was in the original proposition that set up the insurance department. 60
This is
days
Hilton talking
to make,
right
to
now,
approve
right?
rate changes. Sometimes now it's over a year. And number three, we have to stop these nuisance lawsuits, often filed by private equity from out of state, that are increasing the cost of insurance.
All right, Mr. Hilton, thank you. Mr. Steyer, what is your plan to attract private insurance companies back to California? You have 60 seconds.
He does got a
skyrocketing
big ass
home insurance
shiny
is one of the
bald
huge
head.
problems facing California
That shit
homeowners.
is shiny.
And it's a result of catastrophic fires.
I don't
and
like
houses
this guy.
being burnt down, and therefore insurance companies wanting to get paid for that risk. What California needs to do is reduce
I don't know what it
that
is,
risk.
but I don't like this
We need
guy.
to reduce the risk of catastrophic fire. What does that look like? On a macro basis, it looks like
I'm pro
controlled
remote work
burns,
because I was
reducing
essential
dry
during
timber.
the
On a
pandemic.
micro
My
basis,
commute
it
went
means
from
hardening
50
houses,
minutes to 20
keeping
minutes.
vegetation 5
Yeah,
feet
I
away,
get
and
it.
other things.
For like
we can
that
reduce the risk
situation,
of houses burning and catastrophic
essential
fires
worker
by
during the
90%.
pandemic. But now
The
that
point is
the
gonna be,
pandemic
at that
is
point, we
over,
need the
I mean,
the
but 50
insurance
minutes to
companies
20 minutes
to
is good.
start
And it all
writing
depends
home
on what you're
insurance
doing.
based
But
on the reduced risk. And it's
I
the
don't
job
know.
of the governor
And the government?
to insist
No.
that they take into account the reduced risk.
Thank you, Steele.
Insurance companies are lazy.
Still shattered
They
hand.
like to drive by a house and make a decision.
Thank you for the super
when
chat,
we're
big
hardening
doll.
houses and reducing risk by 90%, the governor's job is to make sure that they do the work, that they take it into account, and that housing insurance goes way down.
Mr. Steyer, thank you. Nikki?
Ms. Porter, what is your plan to attract private insurance companies back to California? You have 60 seconds.
First, I just want to acknowledge that so many who have been affected by wildfires have not received the federal aid that California
She
deserves
got
from the federal
SSRIs,
government because of
bro.
Donald Trump. I also want to say, as a consumer protection advocate, I would
Because of
absolutely
Donald
hold
Trump?
insurers' feet to the
Look.
fire to make sure they pay out
She got
damages
TDS, bro.
when homes have been burned.
Look at those
I think the
eyeballs.
solution is to have more insurance companies and more competition, but they're going to do that when we have reduced wildfire risk. We cannot afford to not act to reduce wildfire risk. We all lose. Families who lose their homes
She
more
got
than
those
others when we
crazy
face these
eyes,
kinds of
my
catastrophic
guys.
wildfires. So fighting climate change is
Bro,
fighting
I'm-
wildfire risk is ultimately
That's
how you
called
reduce the number
schizophrenia
of people
onset,
who are
yeah.
forced onto a fair plan that is unstable and not financially
Hey, I
sustainable for
swear,
taxpayers.
I swear, me and Shane saw a AI lady in the car next to us on the way to the store. We were at the stoplight, and we look over, and this chick was looking over at us, and she looked more AI than anything I've ever seen. It tripped us out. We were like, she is not real. She is AI. I think we have AI drivers out on the road. I think we have robots taking up space on the road for no reason, because she was freaky. It was crazy.
Ms. Porter, thank you. Mr. Mahan, same question to you. What is your plan to attract private insurance
She was a
companies
non-player
back to
character,
California?
NPC.
You have 60 seconds.
Well, Nikki, I've walked through the Palisades and Altadena with families
Trump
who have
endorsed
lost
Hilton?
everything, and I've seen firsthand what's broken.
Yeah, we were pretty
As
baked.
governor, I will take responsibility for ensuring
We were
that we
pretty
better
baked.
manage our public lands. We have to reduce the fire
She
risk
said she
at
was
the
a
edge
Karen
of our urban
robot, bro.
areas, so
She
we're
had-
not putting
Bro,
homeowners
she
at
looked
risk.
so
When you have
crazy.
those
It was so
catastrophic
weird.
fires, it pushes up costs for everyone.
She didn't look real,
we need
bro.
To bring
She
the
looked
private
like
insurance
plastic.
market
It
back,
was crazy.
Force them to compete with one another on value, allow them to appropriately price risk, and when they play games, as we've heard in some cases, of switching adjusters and dragging out the process of paying out claims, they must be held accountable by the state, and I'll make sure we do that.
Mr. Mahan, thank you. Mr. Becerra, what is your plan to attract private insurance companies back to the state of California? You have 60 seconds.
I won't be as lenient as some of the responses you've heard. I believe that it's time that we get behind the curtain and find out how these insurance companies are operating, because there are still people in Altadena and Pacific Palisades who have not been paid on their claims from back in January 2025. That is ridiculous. Every month they paid their premiums. Some people had never filed a claim, yet when they finally filed this claim for these wildfires, they still can't get an answer to the question how much they get and when they'll get it. That is not right. We should hold their feet to the fire. I'll make sure that we take on all the issues of wildfire mitigation. Sure, you have to harden your home. We have to make sure we don't have developers building in high-risk areas. We'll do all those things. But first and foremost, insurers owe those consumers, those people who paid their premiums, responses. They paid their premiums. They are owed a response on their claims. It's ridiculous that people have had to wait more than a year. That is not the way you treat a customer.
Mr. Becerra, thank you. Frank?
I'm going to move on to our next topic, and that is social media and our children. A California jury found Meta and Google
I heard Trump just did something about it, released funds. Good.
Or for designing addictive social media that contributed to
Pam's
mental health
in another
issues.
space.
Would you support a law that bans social media usage for kids under 16 years of age? This is going to go to each one of you. Mr. Hilton, you will go first. You have 30 seconds.
So as the father of 2 teenage children, I know this issue very well. But actually, it's an issue that I've been thinking about and advocating on for many, many years. 11 years ago, in my book, More Human,
what is that, River Rat?
That was published. I made the argument that it's not just the apps, it's not just the platforms, it's the screens themselves, and that we should set a social norm that children under 16 should not have a smartphone. That is my position now. I think that every parent in their heart knows that it's wrong. Kids do not need smartphones, and we shouldn't allow it.
So just to clarify, though, on the social media side, yes or no, banning it for kids under 16?
I think it misses the point, honestly. I think that we've got to get to the heart of the problem, and that's the devices and the screens.
All right, Mr. Hilton, thank you. Mr. Steyer, would you support a law that bans social media usage for kids under 16 years of age? You have 30
Social media.
Yes, I would. I've said that publicly. I think it's been clear for a long time that young people have significant mental health issues as a result of social media. And we have counted on the companies to police themselves. And that is
they have been detrimental to our kids.
As AI is here, artificial intelligence.
They really have. Screens are detrimental to our kids' learning.
The safety and health of our children. And it's going to be, that is something which absolutely threatens them. And young people are addicted to their artificial intelligence.
I mean, it depends on what they consider social media.
So we are going to have to regulate these companies and have the courage to do it.
Mr. Steyer, thank you. Ms. Porter, would you support a law that bans social media
not
usage
in a space
for
right
kids
now.
under 16? You have 30 seconds.
Yeah, as a mom of 3 teenagers, I will say that every kid is different. I definitely have a kid, I won't name him here, who's doing a good job with moderating social media, using it occasionally and in ways that have been helpful. I have another kid who's constantly told to put her device down, and when needed, I take it away. I do think we need to hold companies accountable when their products produce harm. If they're producing
kids under a
addiction,
certain age shouldn't have social media.
Inappropriate conduct, then we absolutely
there's too many predators.
But those
it's
problems
disgusting.
affect both kids particularly, but also adults.
And just to clarify, and forgive me if
Pam
I missed
is
it, but hold
batshit
accountable
loco in the
or,
cabeza.
ban the usage for kids under 16.
I would not ban under 16. I might consider a different ban, but I also want to recognize that as a parent, it's an opportunity for families to make choices and have conversations about
it's
technology
a lot on the parent
these kids will see their whole lives.
Ms. Porter, thank you. Mr. Mahan,
You
would
know?
you support a law that bans social media usage for kids under 16 years of age? You have 30 seconds.
16 is kind of old.
Require parental consent
16 is
for
kind of
children under 16 to be able to use social media. I would also ban cell phone use during the academic day in public schools
12, 13,
all the way through
14.
high school. I think it's
I don't know.
destructive.
I didn't grow
to
up with social
give
media,
kids
so it was
products that their brains aren't fully developed and able to use safely. And so
we
I
barely
would
had
put those restrictions
MySpace.
in place. I think parents should have ultimate control in this situation. My wife and I are raising 2 little kids. They're 8 and 6 years old. We limit screen time.
Mr. Mahan, same
Yeah, I
clarification.
definitely have to
you
limit
say
screen time.
require parental consent. Are you yes or no on banning it under the age of 16?
The reason I would require parental consent under 16 is that there are lots of educational tools that may have social components that might connect students. There could be applications that make sense, but parents should have control over those decisions.
Right. Mr. Mahan, thank you. Mr.
Yeah,
Becerra,
I didn't
would
have
you
a cell
support
phone.
a law that bans social media usage?
I had a
kids
cell
under
phone when I was
16?
like
30
17.
seconds.
Addiction
17, 18,
is
something like
dangerous.
that. Metro
yes,
PCS.
I would absolutely work with legislators to make sure we can enact such a law. Kids have died as a result of their use of social media. Kids are going into this spiral downhill where they're not doing anything but playing with their phone.
How
It is
about
time
parents
for
start
us to act.
parenting? Yeah.
And I will tell you, as a former attorney general, I will enforce
13
that
and 14
law
is
to
the
make sure
worst time.
we are able
Yeah,
to manage
social media
our
does
children's
things to kids'
development
brains,
over the
dude.
lifespan. And what I will tell you is this.
Tommy, we
also
grew
have
up
to
on
help
keep
those
your ass
families
outside
that are
until the
trying to
street
manage
lights
their
come on.
kids'
Yeah,
use of
exactly.
these types of devices.
We were,
Mr. Becerra,
we
thank
were
you.
up
Mr.
from the
Bianco,
crack of
would you
dawn
support a law
until
that
past
bans
the street lights
social
came on.
media
At that,
usage for
and we'd be in
kids under
trouble.
16? You have 30 seconds.
You know,
No,
but we
that's
would
up to
still
the
do it
parents.
every day.
I think it's interesting that drugs
Roblox is
create
terrible.
mental illness too,
Yeah.
and yet California Democrats have made drugs legal in California. But now we're going to ban social media because it creates a mental health issue for kids under 16. We know it creates mental health issues for adults. Social media is not a good thing for us to be spending 12 hours a day on, but it is up to parents what they want to do with their kids. It's not up to the government to tell them what their kids are going to do.
I kind of
and
agree.
I agree there are far too many educational benefits to these platforms than there are dangers, but it's up to parents.
All right. Mr. Bianco,
Yeah.
thank you. Nikki?
Time's winding down, so as we like to say in TV, we're going to switch gears and ask a bit of a lighter question so people watching can get to know you on more of a personal level. Keep your answers a bit short here, but since we're on a streaming platform now, we want to know, what was the last streaming show that you watched? Mr. Steyer, we'll start with you.
I think the last streaming show I saw was probably Marshall's.
Marshall, streaming show of Marshall, okay.
Yep.
Ms. Porter, last streaming show that you watched?
I took a lot of heat from my kids for this, but I was watching Heated Rivalry.
Okay. Ms. Porter, thank you. Mr. Mahan, last streaming show that you watched?
It's the one with Kerry Russell. I think it's called The Diplomat,
The
or
Diplomat.
something. The Diplomat. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Mr. Mahan, thank you. Mr. Becerra, last streaming show that you watched?
I wish I could tell you that I have time to watch streaming shows. I can't tell you that I'm much of a TV watcher.
All right, Mr. Becerra, thank you. Mr. Bianco, last streaming show that you watched?
I don't stream and I don't watch TV.
Okay, Mr. Bianco, thank you. Mr. Hilton, last streaming show that you watched?
Don't stream it, I
In the
don't
middle
watch
of it right
TV.
now is Reacher. One of my sons really enjoys that, probably more than the rest of us in the family. But it's been good fun to watch together.
Mr. Hilton, thank you.
Thanks to all of you.
used
Thanks
to
to
go
our
out and
candidates
skateboard
for
after school
being
so the
here
kids can
this
handle being
evening.
on their phone
and
after
we
school.
want to say that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did we not
Yes.
ask someone?
Yes.
Okay, we're ready
Everybody
to go.
got their answer
I
in.
thought we missed someone. We want to make sure we know what you're streaming. That wraps up our debate for tonight. We want to invite you to stay tuned.
That was the ending
For
question?
the spin room
That
that's
was
happening
stupid.
right here in the studio live after the break. So stay tuned for that.
And we want to remind
The only one
everyone
I
at
heard of
home,
was the sheriff.
ballots for the
He's the
California
only one that
primary
looked
election,
familiar
they start
to
going
me.
out very soon on
Is the
May
sheriff,
4th.
the one in the middle.
And of course, Election Day is on June 2nd. We thank you for watching.
Where? It doesn't say which one it is. Portland Andy! Oh shit, he got the hot dog up. Is it over already? It must have just got over with. Oh shit. None of them said Tommy TV, them bastards. Them bastards. See, I'm not on my other... Shit. Let's do this. Huh?
I found Will's other YouTube channel. That's his new one.
That's his new one? Send it to me.
Oh, it's a picture of you on all the stuff, of course.
Yeah, he's infatuated with me. He's infatuated with me. Look at all the stuff we got for tomorrow. That's just what we got as much as we could get, like, just to start out and see if it's successful. Because, you know, a lot of the homeless people ask for sandwiches and food instead of just snacks. So we're going to make lunch sacks. We got the paper bags. I just got to stop in the morning before I get the get to Shane's. I got to stop and get some rubber gloves. You should have just sent me the... Oh, it doesn't even have any content. Tommy and Ground Zero Food Service. Hey, look, there I is.
Yeah, I just checked that too.
Mean little meow. Oh, look what happened. Man, look what happened to Mark's dog last night, dude. Some lady attacked Mark's dog, broke 12 of his ribs. I posted the Give Send Go on my ex for the dog's medical bills. That dog is the sweetest dog ever. Like, I don't know what would possess... Bro, I honestly... Mark has way more restraint than me, because if I was walking my dog and somebody tried to attack my dog... First of all, my dog's a psycho. Like, if you try to grab a hold of my dog, she'll bite the shit out of you. Like, she doesn't like to be held down or anything like that. His dog is a gentle giant, you know? Like, even when Mark was arguing with somebody or something, his dog wasn't worried at all, you know? My dog, if I'm arguing with somebody, she's going batshit crazy. But if somebody tried to attack my dog while I was with them, I would go to jail. I don't care if you're a man or a woman or a child at that point. You're trying to hurt my dog. That's like my family. Then I'm going to protect my dog with all of myself, with all of my being. That dog is going to be safe, you know? Yeah, but I get that. I don't know the circumstances of what happened, and maybe we could have a space and I could have him in and he could talk about it or something. But it sucks that it happened, and I'm not talking shit or saying anything bad because I don't know the circumstances by any means, but and I know Mark is very protective of his dog, so it had to have been some extenuating circumstance. But yeah, I don't. It breaks my heart, dude. I love that puppers. Emmy, watch Devroy Darkin's independent journalist Mike Bentz exposes corrupt NGO network amid SPLC indictment. Great video. Damn, that's a big title. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, shit. Damn, that's a whole lot of shit to look up. Devroy. What the hell? Mike Benz.
Guest here with us, Mike Benz. He is a former U.S. State Department official. Also,
All right, let's watch this, see what this is about.
So the executive director of the Foundation for Freedom Online, but you should probably know him for exposing exactly the fraud, waste, and abuse that happened under USAID. And he has recently taken a position.
Yeah, so I think he had 12 broken ribs and at least one broken leg, I think. Don't quote me on that. And Mark had pet insurance for the dog, but it doesn't cover everything that it's taking. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Within the administration. So I'm very grateful that he was able to make the time with us here virtually to come onto the show and really catch us up on what's happening with that, what his plans are moving forward.
If you guys aren't following, go ahead when we're done here, go and like and subscribe to Devroy Darkins on YouTube. That's whose video this is.
And really want to get into some of the digital side of what's happening in our country. So, Mike, thank you for being on the show today. How are you, sir?
Great. Thanks for having me. It's been we're in an exciting pivot point in history right now.
Exactly. And so I just want to get right into it. Let's just start with the easy stuff. So USAID, you're pretty much the person I think most Americans, if they were interested in the topic, heard your side, like when you were on Joe Rogan and other podcasts, really expose it all. What do you think is the main lesson that you got out of all of it at this point?
Well, I think the main lesson to draw is that there is this vast connective tissue between the government and the private sector and the NGO plex, and that the idea of a kind of philanthropic front for funding economic development initiatives is a very easy way to disguise all manner of political and intelligence and statecraft-oriented black ops. I mean, one of the things that I think was very instructive for people to see case study after case study around was the use of USAID to do things that used to be done by intelligence services or used to be done by private philanthropists if they wanted to, secure oil reserves in a certain country, or copper or aluminum, or swing an election. I think one of the phrases that I would go around saying and still feel quite adamantly about is, when it's too dirty for the CIA, you give it to USAID. And
yeah, it was Mark's dog. Yeah, he's okay. He has a broken hip also. My wife just said he has a broken hip also. Man, that's so sad.
reason for that is actually logistical. If any CIA operation that goes on for a particularly long period of time, the more it stretches out, the easier it is to run it under USAID. The bigger it is, the more, because if you think about the logistics of an intelligence operation, everybody's got to have a security clearance. You have to have your communications in a SCIF. You have to launder the money because the paycheck can't say that it's coming from an intelligence agency, or else the covert operation is blown. And so logistically, it's just much easier to run things out of a
USAID is the U.S. Agency for International Development. U.S. Agency for International Development. No, he said she didn't go to jail.
Government agency that's allowed to give the money, that's allowed to get people in on the operation without them getting a security clearance or without them being on a need-to-know basis. Anytime you need to mobilize tens or hundreds of thousands of people, it's much easier to do it through USAID than to do it through the CIA. And in fact, it's much easier for the CIA to work, for example, through the State Department than it is the CIA. That's why the CIA, for example, when the U.S. Embassy in Riyadh got bombed last month in Saudi Arabia, the news was U.S. Embassy bombed, CIA station substantially, destroyed. And it was, well, what is the CIA station doing inside the U.S. Embassy? But that is the case pretty much everywhere, which is that almost half of our State Department political affairs employees don't even work for the State Department. They work for the CIA under diplomatic cover, and it's the same thing with the with USAID. But really, there's this NGO-plex that is used for all manner of soft power and influence. And so what I'm hoping to be able to do in the next 6 months is to be able to bring forward tranches of files so that the American people can see what they've been paying for all this time when they thought they were funding this kind of philanthropic development front.
Right. It's interesting because it sounds like it's just USAID is just another arm of the CIA, essentially. And I like how you actually put it, because a lot of people think when they hear about operations, they forget nothing happens without, the logistical side of it all. So, yeah, that's a really good point. You said NGOs. So can we explore that just briefly? Do you think not just the NGOs overseas that are involved in a lot of this stuff because of the CIA, what about NGOs here in our own country? Do you find that, which one is a bigger problem?
Well, I see it as the same problem, because the big ones that operate at home in this country also operate internationally and are often the recipients for huge amounts of grants overseas, and there's no firewall between that and their domestic work. So a great example is something like the Open Society Foundation, or the Open Society Institute Network, which is George Soros's network. Now that is a network that became hugely popular and powerful in the 1980s as a NGO parallel influence track to defeat communism in Eastern Europe. It worked very closely with all of our U.S. embassies in Europe. It worked very closely with USAID. they deny it, but it would.
Yeah, they steal all the money to give it to other countries or put it in the politicians' pockets. Like the NGOs out here that supposedly help the homeless, they take way more money and scam it and scheme it and steal it. Yeah, I don't know. No, they cited her. They took a report, but no charges were filed against her.
It'd be hard for me to. There was never a point of conflict, let's just say, between them and the Central Intelligence Agency's goals during the Cold War. But regardless of how you, at the end of the day, George Soros did help us win the Cold War, if you will. The Open Society Foundation was started in 1979 in South Africa, according to George Soros, as a tax shelter for his kids, basically. But then very quickly, when Reagan came into office, they began working, setting up all over Europe. And the fact is they are now in pretty much every country. I covered, for example, the Open Society Foundation's work in Mongolia to help get a preferential mining deal that would allow foreign direct investors to profit from the discovery of the world's largest copper mine in Mongolia. The Open Society Foundation worked very closely with the U.S. Embassy in Mongolia to make that happen. They organized street protests in order to make sure that this set of reforms passed. And then at the same time, George Soros's hedge fund, his family office hedge fund, which is worth billions of dollars, was massively invested in Rio Tinto, the British mining firm that got the mining rights that the U.S. Embassy pushed for, and that his own NGO foundations was organizing street protests to maximize the profits of a company that George Soros was invested in. But the fact is Open Society Foundation works.
Yeah, the DA still hasn't gotten a hold of me about ISIS shooting me in the face with that BB gun. That's insane to me. It's absolutely insane to me. You seen on the news on Google today that is going to be soon for the stimulus, $2,000, Trump said. I'll believe it when I see it. Elon Musk and Doge, Elon Musk and the Doge team characterized USAID as a viper's nest of inefficiency and ideological waste. Yep, sounds about right. Anything the fucking Democrats touch, they destroy.
At home
I've
in the
called
U.S.
them a bunch, and I've went there even to try to talk to them.
George Soros announced
wasn't able to.
that Open Society would begin to do it in the United States, what it had done for the 20 years before that abroad. And in fact, to this day, well, I should say at least up until mid last year, the Open Society Foundation was one of the key implementing partners of a USAID program to organize street protests around the world. They're literally a direct, recipient of these funds, an implementer of these programs. And while that set of funds is not to organize street protests at home against, say, the Republican Party or something, the fact is getting that huge swath of funds allows you to build personnel. It allows you to build clout. It allows you to develop a giant influence system. And so I liken it to, if Raytheon got in the business of flagging social media posts and Raytheon continued to get billions of dollars of military industrial complex grants, even though those grants are not for countering disinformation, I think everyone would be kind of more than a little freaked out if Raytheon, they were a government funded, almost wholly government funded organization that was built this enormous clout system and globe spanning power, and then was siphoning off that to be able to censor your tweets. So that's kind of the heart of the NGO complex at home that I think can be substantially neutered by cutting its branches abroad.
Got it. Let me ask you this question, because when you were explaining that, especially the social media piece and these campaigns that they can...
It's crazy that they're not charging that whole family that attacked Savannah. It's absolutely wild to me.
Run.
Yeah, she drove by
that
and
are
blasted
based
me
on
right
misinformation.
in the cheek with one.
So, and I think you're the perfect person to ask this question. What do people do then? Like people who are out there listening to you, to me, other alternative media, how do we find out the actual truth? I mean, what is true anymore? I mean, based on what's happening on social media, I mean, whether it's as simple as bots or that these, I mean, what we see on X, how there's a lot of accounts that are not even based in America. Like, what can the American people do to combat this, essentially?
Well, I think the best practice is to try to listen to as wide a number of sources as possible. And I think everyone falls into a kind of, pocket of kind of constellation of news sources that they semi-trust. I think that one of the issues around the way our democracy worked until the social media age is that if you think about it, we had three news stations for the entirety of the.
People are always going to talk shit about everything that we do, especially on the left. And especially because when we go out and we pass out food and stuff, we still wear our Trump hats. We still wear our Trump shirts. But we give food to everybody. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't even matter if you're homeless. If you're walking by and you want something to drink or something to eat, we let you have it, And there's always going to be idiots that talk shit and run their mouth. But we know that's all they are, is idiots. And I've been homeless, and I know what it's like to want to need something and not have it. And then, there's lots of people, lots of resources in Portland that give that kind of stuff away, and everything helps. These people are human. I get that there's a lot of problems, drugs and mental illness, but they are people, and every drink counts, every piece of clothes, every bite of food. They're grateful. We've had, how many times have we been out there now where other people get mad at us because we're streaming, but then the people that we're helping, the homeless, they're like, what's wrong with you? That's fine that they're recording. They don't have a problem with it. And anytime that we are recording, if they say, hey, we don't want to be on camera, we turn the camera the opposite way and we do not record them, So if it was anybody else saying, hey, I don't want to be recorded in public, I'm going to be like, okay, we're in public. It doesn't matter what you want. But we're out there to help these people and give them food and stuff that they need. And if they ask us not to record them, we're going to respect that, So we're always going to have trolls. Fuck them. I don't care. They can say what they want. It doesn't bother me. I know why I'm doing what I'm doing. We don't make anything off of going out there. We're just doing it because you guys are donating for the cause, and because we can do things. We can be out there while we don't have anything else to do. We can be out there passing out food and passing out stuff that they need. Like it helps more than people realize. These people are going through a lot in their life. A lot of the ones that we deal with are at the bottom of the barrel, or at the bottom at rock bottom, and they're thankful for anything anybody offers. So people can be mad all they want. People could be mad all they want.
We had basically NBC, ABC, and CBS. And then CNN and Fox News came about in the late 1980s and 1990s, respectively. But, from World War II, basically, up until the end of the Cold War, there were only, it was Coke, Pepsi, and some, off-brand cola. I mean, it was the same. It was the same thing. A very small number of, and so I think people were pretty easily fooled by propaganda. There was not really. I think when you look at kind of the boomer class reaction to social media, there's a kind of, we miss the Walter Cronkite days. This is almost what you get from a lot of folks when they talk about social media misinformation. I wish we just had one trusted news anchor that we could just defer. We wouldn't need to think so hard. We wouldn't need to wonder, is this true? Is this not true? And my response to that is that the American people slipped on every banana peel in that era. I mean, but you could say anything, and the fact that there was a very close back channel between the public broadcasters and our intelligence services and military. I mean, if you just look at the origins of those the big three during the Cold War, every single one of them was started by a graduate of the Office of War Information in World War II, and had these very close Pentagon ties. And so I actually think that there's a check and balance put on power by having a large number of pretty much authentic citizen journalists who accrue their audiences organically for the most part on the basis of personality and reputation, but reputation gets litigated every day. People may be upset that a lot of large accounts are not always accurate, or sometimes they're flagrantly wrong, or they, it's 50-50 and you can't trust them, but they've got a huge amount of influence. Well, that credibility is always, mixed against people's awareness of their bias. I don't think that there's a large content creator who is known to not always be, fully accurate, whose biases are not on full display. And people tend to align with the podcasters and influencers and media voices who align with their own biases. As they go through their own philosophical and political evolutions, they will branch, into other creators and the like, or become creators themselves. And I actually find that to be a hugely democratic process. And I like that we are in an era where people don't just see something in the news and turn their brain off and believe it. I think that that's actually a healthy check on government.
Yeah, that's really good. I'm glad I got to hear that, because having to talk about this every day on my podcast, even I tell people, I'm like, I don't know. I'm not standing next to the president. I'm not in his mind. I'm not, so I can't really tell you what's 110% true. We could just go based off what the results show, and then try to fill in the blanks when we can, when it's practical. But one thing I just want to shift to here, because I think it's in relation to what you were just talking about.
Dearborn got you banned on X.
So
what?
This upcoming film, this documentary, I was just telling you before we went live that I pledged to.
Benz follows the money like a rabid animal. Can you just tell people
what it's about? Because I think it literally is the foundation of what you were just saying, and how we should have a broad choices of who we listen to, but also what are we up against when attempting to do that?
Yes. So thank you. So the film is called Shielded by Power. It's being produced by a group called Empower Oversight, which is the group that basically helped bring to the public the story of the IRS whistleblowers against the kind of Biden campaign machine and the Biden big guy machine. And it's essentially a kind of autopsy and deep review and kind of movie storification of what happened around the Biden administration and many of the corruptions and abuses around Burisma, Hunter Biden, the censorship industrial complex, and what all was set up during that era that we have inherited, so that we've got kind of an official as possible, kind of history of what all went into that. Because there were many of those pieces, a lot of those news stories, while they were big and everyone sort of remembers that the Hunter Biden laptop story was censored by Facebook or whatnot, they don't necessarily remember things like the Aspen Digital 3-day conference set up to organize the pre-censorship of that, and how the Aspen Institute continued to get government funding, and how it's a branch of many influences of many aspects of our foreign influence to this day, and had been for 40 years before that. And so my role in the film was essentially to talk about the censorship industrial complex that was set up. I mean, it didn't. And to be fair, it was not set up under the Biden administration. It was scaled. It was it went from 0 to 1 under the first Trump administration, I think without the Trump administration knowing it, until it was too late. And then it went from.
Emmy says, I forgot how long this was, but I thought it was interesting. I didn't know you were going to show it. Next time, a comedy. Well, you said to watch it, not on stream. Actually, you know what? we're going to watch this anyways. I'm going to...
What do you think about the Stop Nick Shirley Act?
I think you're a psycho scam artist.
They don't want to end their fraud racket. A lot of the politicians, they benefit from the political organizations, and so they want this racket to continue. They don't want the truth to get out.
Stop fraud investigations, but you're the one who signed off and you're a co-author of it. Here in California, they are trying to pass the Stop Nick Shirley Act. The official title of this bill is AB 2624, and today we're going to be confronting the legislators that are trying to pass this bill. And if this bill were...
I'm going to text him and tell him I'm live streaming and I'm going to text him and tell him that I'm live streaming and reacting to his video. There, now he knows.
Or to get passed, instead of going after the fraudsters, they're trying to make it criminal.
Shout out to Nick Shirley. I love you, big dog. He's exposing so much. Hey, what happened to Shut Up? I haven't seen him in forever.
Criminal to go after the people that are committing this fraud. For instance, it would become criminal to film and reveal info on taxpayer-funded immigration services like healthcare, which would include daycare, hospices. It also covers counseling services, translation services, and immigration legal services. So for instance, if the Quality Leering Center was inside of California, it would be illegal to expose them. It would make it illegal to film government-funded NGOs. And this bill essentially wants to shield the info of immigrant support services from the public. So your tax dollars, you'd have no idea where it's going because it would then become confidential, and you would not be able to see how much money that NGO is getting if it's going towards immigrant services. And what makes this bill super interesting is the lady who created this bill, her name is Mia Bonta. Her husband is the Attorney General of California named Rob Bonta. You cannot make this up. So you have the Attorney General who's supposed to prosecute and go after.
Look at this stud right here. Look, this is an alpha male exposing all the fraud. Look at this guy. Look at Nick Shirley. Look at him. The GOAT. Changing the world one story at a time, baby.
After the fraudsters, and then you have his wife who's trying to pass.
That's my cracker right there, bro.
Bills to go after the people exposing the fraud.
Good night, Jerry.
Like, seriously, this is absolutely crazy. And the AG, Rob Bonta, just a few days ago said they were cracking down on the fraud way before certain people came into the state.
We've been doing it successfully before certain people in this country decided to think about it for the first time.
However, it was only after I exposed over $100 million in fraud that actually made any arrest here inside of California. Let's say this bill gets passed. What could happen to you if you expose fraud or go and look into immigration services? Well, you could receive a $4,000 fine underneath a civil fine, a $10,000 fine if it's criminal, and a $50,000 fine if it becomes a felony. You may also face potential imprisonment and your content be forced to be taken down. This is a complete violation of the First Amendment, as they're trying to take down and suppress your own speech, make it so you can't film in public, which is taking away your freedom of press. There's a whole lot of issues with this bill, and today we're going to be confronting those that co-authored, signed, and passed this bill. And so truly, every single day here in America, you are learning more and more about the fraud that is taking place. And if you want to become a member of the Anti-Fraud Club and help me as I go all about the country to expose this fraud, go join at antifraudclub.com, and it's completely free, and hoodies are also available on the site. And really quick, let's go speak with an assemblyman who knows more about this bill before we go and confront them. Now let's get into the video. What's the truth about the Stop Nick Shirley Act?
So you've heard a lot of people trying to call you a liar. Why don't we just read the bill? I think that's what everybody just needs to know. So in this section of AB 2624, which we call the Stop Nick Shirley Act, it says a person, business, or association shall not publicly post or publicly display, disclose, or distribute on the internet or social media, the internet, the personal information or image of a designated immigration support service provider, employee, or volunteer if that individual or individual entity or organization authorized on the act of their behalf. And that's just some of the language.
And what does that mean, immigration support services provider?
You're exact. See, and that is where the devil is in the details. Designated Immigration Support Services Facility means a facility where immigration support services are provided, including but not limited to nonprofit organization offices, Department of Justice recognized entities, community legal clinics, law offices, accredited representative sites that provide immigration legal services, and healthcare facilities. They threw that into designated immigration support service facilities, healthcare facilities.
And healthcare is at the very bottom of this. But that's where a lot of the fraud's taking place, inside of Medi-Cal. For instance, the hospices, the daycares are with CalWorks,
Freedom of the press.
but they're with anything to have to do with immigrants. Essentially,
they
could not
suppress
and is actually punishable.
Freedom of the press. They cannot suppress your First Amendment rights. No, that goes against our Constitution, our First Amendment. Hell no, bro. There's no way it's gonna go through. But the audacity of these commies to try to shut it down. I know I heard there was a protest at U of O. I heard there was a protest today at University of Oregon. I wish I would have known about it. The Supreme Court won't allow it, but the audacity of these people to think that they could pass something like this, shutting people's rights down, and they call us the fascists. They call us the oh, bro. Thank God for Nick Shirley, bro. Nick Shirley doesn't even have to do nothing. He's exposing these people just because Nick's going after the fraud and they don't want their fucking cash cow to end. So now they're trying to stop him from exposing their fraud. Pathetic.
You're 100% right. And that's where, again, the devil is in the details. Their definition of harassment is repeated, unreasonable, and unwelcome conduct. What is unwelcome conduct? Simply you asking questions today, can that be considered unwelcome? What do they mean by things that you could generally fear? So if they say the words, I was harassed by Nick Shirley, if you were out videotaping a hospice, you would fall under this because healthcare facilities is a designated immigration support service facility. That is part of the definition. It is written here that if you post this online and they give you a demand made under that paragraph shall be effective for 4 years where you could be punished. So what people...
Cam posted a new video today. Maybe we'll check it out.
Really need to know is that the state of California is deciding to punish the journalist out there.
I'll be right back. Hold on. Give me 2 minutes. You're going on all the chats. I guess I found out why, oh, y'all can hear me when we're in there? That's all right. I guess I found out why Will's YouTube got taken down.
There that are doing the work and exposing the fraud instead of punishing the fraudsters. In a government that diminishes transparency has something to hide.
I needed a Dragon
And
with
what are
cigarette.
some more crazy things about this bill?
There's a section in this bill that says any records or documents pertaining to a program participant shall be held confidential. So there are workarounds in this bill that will hide information that if you wanted to find online the Quality Learning Center, all of these areas can be now moved around and shifted. They are making it harder to find the people's money when we should be making it easier. When we have already proven that in 3 cases alone in the state of California, $500 million in fraud. Thank you for that.
And so essentially, an NGO or a daycare, anything that falls underneath immigration support providers, their information would then become confidential.
Exactly. Well, that's exactly right, is that they can hide it because they have changed the definitions. Designated Immigration Support Services Facility also includes healthcare facilities, also includes nonprofit organizations, and not only that, areas that the Department of Justice actually recognizes those entities. It's such a broad thing, so you can cover everything. And then, when you look at those definitions, when I read you the bill, I am reading the physical bill. So when they call you a liar, how? How are you lying? How, when you have all of the information in front of you, and it's a front. When you sit down and you actually talk about it, you know it's a coordinated effort to steal from the people of California.
In that same day, an assemblyman, Carl DeMaio, brought forth a motion to push for more transparency on this bill. However, it was then shut down by the Democrats inside of the assembly to not give any more transparency. And as I was explaining this, one of the co-authors passed by, and it was now my time to confront these legislators who are pushing forth this bill. Here's one of the authors of the bill. How are you guys doing?
Get her, boys!
We just want to ask you
Get her, boys!
about the bill and why you guys would pass this bill that really isn't an attack on free speech.
I am not even sure what you're talking about.
Really?
You said an author.
What?
I don't think
Yes,
I'm an
did you
author.
pass out? Did you sign to pass this bill? The AB 26?
No, I don't
24?
know what you're talking about.
Oh,
Do you know
yes,
what I'm talking
she
about?
does.
No.
You do not.
No,
Are you
guys
serious?
are just talking about something.
We're talking about something random.
deny.
Okay. Sasha, how are you doing?
They just deny,
we just want to ask you about the bill AB 2624. Why would you sign off on that? It's a direct violation of the First Amendment, and it makes it harder for people to expose fraud here.
We have Leg Council. They check the constitutionality of all our bills as we're writing them. I work on fraud issues. You'd know that if you look at some of the work I did on the budget subcommittee.
Amazing. So, Mia Bonta, her husband's the Attorney General of the Attorney General of California, and it was only until I exposed fraud that they actually cracked down on the fraud and made some arrests here, especially with the hospices.
Yeah.
And do you know that if this bill were to pass, it'd make it illegal for someone to go after fraud, especially if it's based off of immigrants, for instance, the Armenians in California?
No, I think that that's a misinterpretation of the bill, but I'm happy to talk with you more about it.
They
and
were just literally reading the
Well,
bill.
investigations into fraud are something that's been happening for a very long time.
These
The Attorney
people are
General handles
professional
those cases.
gaslighters, dude.
This
I think
is an ongoing
weird
issue.
that the wife of the Attorney General, Mia Bonta, is now pushing this bill that literally goes against the First Amendment.
No, I actually don't. I don't think that this bill violates the First Amendment. I
Really?
that's
Are you
that's
dumb?
the whole purpose. We have Leg Council and Leg attorneys that talk with us about this. Constitutionality is really important to the work.
So your bill criminalizes publication of images recorded in public. Do you believe the government has the right to punish journalists for filming in public space?
No. I think that is a complete misinterpretation of actually
No, because if
legislation.
that is not. That's literally what would happen. Speaker Rivas, how are you doing? What do you think about the Stop Nick Shirley Act, AB 2624?
I don't know anything about it.
And do you think there's any conflict of
I don't
interest
know
there with
anything about it.
Mia Bonta
Lie and
and her
deny,
husband being the
exactly,
AG? That just shows you everything you need to know. These people won't even answer the questions. So
Yeah.
you signed off, you're a co-author of the AB
Absolutely
2624 bill. What made you want to sign off on this bill that would literally make it so NGOs don't have to disclose their money?
Yeah, we'd have to go back and look at the materials from that committee hearing.
Okay, and what, for instance, just answer the question. Why does your bill apply to organizations receiving taxpayer money? Shouldn't publicly funded entities have more transparency, not less?
Yes, exactly.
Restate the question?
Yes, so entities that receive money from the government, shouldn't there be more transparency and not less?
Yeah, I think we want to make sure that we are being accountable to public funds.
Yes, and so you sign off on a bill that would make that harder to have transparency.
Well, I don't think I see it that way. I think that we're making sure that, like, all of our systems are able to get the money out to community and that there's transparency and accountability incorporated.
But you're literally signing off on a bill that would make it for less transparency, sir.
That's debatable, and I don't
It's
agree.
not debatable. They're going for immigration-based services. They're trying to make it harder for money to be disclosed.
Thanks.
Look, they just run off.
Yeah, they do. It's pathetic.
How are you doing?
Deny.
So, great work. Very
Thank you.
proud of what you're doing.
And how come you think that they're just sign off on a bill that would make it harder for organizations that receive taxpayer dollars to be?
I don't agree with it. I think you're on the right track. This is an attack. It should not be. It's not right. You're doing well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're a co-author
Well, at
of
least
the
you got some
Stop
support.
Nick Shirley Act. Oh, you know who I am.
this
My name is
shit-
Nick
this
Shirley,
shit
man.
gives me the
You
chills.
signed off
This
on
shit
the
irritates me,
AB
dude.
2624
Like,
Act. Can you
these
tell us
people
about
are-
what you did on that?
I don't even know who you are.
Well, my
Are you a
name's Nick
blogger?
Shirley. But either way, can you tell me about this assembly bill you're trying to pass?
Shirley?
My name's Nick Shirley, ma'am.
I have no idea. I'm sorry.
But
I
could
don't
you
know who
please
are.
just answer any question about the AB 2624 bill? A lot of people are worried about that it's going to
I didn't-
stop
you can
fraud
talk to my
investigations.
team if you want
But you're the
to.
one who signed
Yeah.
off and you're a co-author of it.
Yeah, she's a
These
co-author.
people
Can't answer
are
any fucking
crazy. They
questions.
can't even answer questions about
my
the bills
God.
that they're co-authoring. Hello, Mr. Lowenthal. How are you doing?
Okay, how are
Doing
you?
great. How do you feel about proposing a bill that would put $10,000 fines and potential jail time for publishing a video from a parking lot?
Wait, can you say that to me again? Let me
Yeah, so
understand that a
AB
little bit
2624,
Okay.
if a journalist were to go and investigate fraud in an immigrant service company, essentially, from the government that receives taxpayer dollars, they could potentially risk receiving a $10,000 fine with this bill you guys are trying to pass.
Well, I need to read the bill.
But
Well,
you
you're
signed
a
off on the bill. You
co-author.
passed the bill.
You signed off on it. Why are
What do you mean I passed
What?
the bill?
What?
It's gone through two times and it's been passed.
What two times? Where are you referring to? Are you referring to committees?
Yes.
Which committees?
I can tell you right here if you give me a second. But
Speaking of committee, I'm in the privacy committee right now, but I don't think that bill has passed before my committee.
Literally
he's a
has
co-author of
passed
it.
his committee.
He's a co-author of that bill. What's your thoughts on this AB 2624 bill? Any response? Like, what would make you guys want to pass this?
Yeah.
Do you think it makes it harder for fraud to get discovered here in the United States?
He's good at what he does, but he's in the moment. I get it. You get nervous or you get flustered, and you have to slow down and think about what you're saying before you say it. People. I don't know. People, God bless Nick for sure, but people want to harm Nick because he is exposing fraud. They're literally introducing bills retroactively to stop him from investigating any more fraud. And that's got to be frustrating and hard to fathom. Stop Nick Shirley Act, that's just crazy to me. Like, that tells you everything you need to know, that he's doing what nobody else has done, exposing millions and millions of dollars worth of fraud that's being stolen from taxpayers. And I'm all for it. I don't care if he stutters or if he has to slow down and ask the question, or at least he gets the point across. At least he's out there doing it, Not everybody is perfect in every little thing that they do, but he's perfect for what he's doing. That's for sure. Have I heard of Meatgate? No.
Why can't you guys just answer our questions? You guys are the ones who are signing off on these bills. So what do you think about the Stop Nick Shirley Act, AB 2624? You don't know much about it? Or?
I don't know if I know that.
Oh, well, can I tell you a little bit about it?
I'm okay.
So
she's a co-author.
You should know. You should know about it though, because it's kind of your job. So the Stop Nick Shirley Act, what it does is it shields immigrant. Oh, all right, we can keep following you. The Stop Nick Shirley Act shields immigration nonprofit workers from public record disclosure. It criminalizes publishing images and videos of covered workers, even taken in public. Grants covered orgs power to demand video takedowns, imposes a $4,000 civil, $10,000 criminal, $50,000 felony fines per violation, applies to taxpayer-funded organizations. Would you support a bill that allows all that to take place?
Free speech.
It is your job. Would you support a bill? Yes or no, ma'am?
Can you take that, baby? It was so good to meet you. I hope you have a great day.
Ma'am, you're literally working for us, but you won't even answer our own questions.
That's so
like, these people get paid
wild.
by our tax dollars, yet they can't even answer anything. This is super important. People have a lot of questions about the AB 2624 Act, aka the Stop Nick Shirley Act. Tell us about it.
Well, there is no Stop Nick Shirley Act, but the author's not here today, but I hope you can find her.
But you're a co-author of this.
I'm a co-author of many, many bills that protect vulnerable communities in California.
Good, so you should know a lot about this bill. For instance, it shields immigration.
Hold on one. Hey.
I hate to disrupt the phone call, but this is important. Wait, come on. Look at that. These guys really just don't want to answer any of the questions. These people won't even answer questions about the bills they're co-authoring.
Welcome to Sacramento. You know, I appreciate you exposing waste, fraud, and abuse. It is rampant in California, just like in Minnesota. And if it wasn't for independent journalists like you, that would not be happening in our state. And I applaud you for doing it. And welcome to Sacramento.
Well, these people are literally signing off on these bills, and they're acting like they don't have any idea what it is. When it really is a direct violation of the First Amendment.
There is no Nick Shirley Act.
Most of them don't read the bills, but they know what it is. The people that you talk to that co-authored the bill, they know what it is.
It's criminal. And then to think that they're getting paid from the taxpayers of California, yet they can't even answer any questions about these bills that they are co-authors of.
A lot of times when the media will approach them, they deflect often, and that's just the job that they do, and they'll continue to vote. And it's ironic, like I'm the author of SB 14. It's made it a strikeable offense to make sex trafficking of a minor a strike offense in the state of California. And Mia Bonta, we had to get the governor engaged to reverse her decision on the committee to not criminalize sex traffickers, but she wants to criminalize you. That's an ironic situation, huh?
That is very ironic. So the AG's wife, the Attorney General's wife, Mia Bonta, she wanted to protect sex traffickers.
She voted, and it's ironic, like I'm the author of SB 14. It's made it a strikeable offense to make sex trafficking of a minor a strike offense in the state of California. And Mia Bonta, we had to get the governor engaged to reverse her decision on the committee to not criminalize sex traffickers, but she wants to criminalize you. That's an ironic situation, huh?
That is very ironic. So the AG's wife, the Attorney General's wife, Mia Bonta, she wanted to protect sex traffickers.
She voted, she wouldn't vote, and she did not pass a bill in committee a couple of years ago to make sex trafficking a minor child a serious strikeable offense. So if you get a strike and 3 strikes, your life in prison. She wouldn't vote for it. The governor engaged in that process. The next week they passed it out of committee, but she wouldn't criminalize sex traffickers, but she'll criminalize people like you.
That is insane.
So
Mia Bonta,
crazy.
She sounds like quite the lady.
Shannon Grove.
You should meet her one day.
She didn't show up to her own job today, Mia Bonta didn't.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that.
Oh, is this Scott Wiener right here?
Yep, yes he is.
Yeah.
Scott Wiener, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. Can you give us your opinion? Thank you very much. Can you give us your opinion really quick on AB 2624?
I think you're a psycho scam artist. So.
Please disclose how you think that. Look how they just run away. These guys are fools. It would suck to have the last name Wiener anyways. So right there you have literal co-authors who who will not give
she's a
answers to the
veteran
bill
too. She's
that
based.
they are a part of. Some
She's
even
a
say they
veteran
aren't
too.
even co-authors of the
Look,
bill. And now let's see
she's
what
a
the public
veteran
has to
too.
say, and later we'll be speaking with the man, Carl DeMaio, who is in support
Go
of getting
follow
rid of
her
the
on
Stop
X.
Nick Shirley Act. And he'll explain just how dangerous this bill actually is. Do you think they should pass the Stop Nick Shirley Act?
Absolutely not. We need to stop letting politicians get away with fraud and do better for the people of California here in this state.
And what's your message to Mia Bonta?
She needs to stay in her lane, stop writing BS bills, and let journalists do their job and find out the truth and give the money back to Californians.
And do you think there's a conflict of interest when the Attorney General, his wife, is creating laws to make it harder for people to expose fraud?
Yeah, that is a conflict of interest. I mean, come on, dude.
And right now in Polymarket, there's a 46% chance that the Stop Nick Shirley Act becomes law by June 30th.
What? It might happen here because you got some weird fools over here. I mean,
46%
That's the truth of it, right?
Yeah.
That
Absolutely
is
insane.
It'll be
46%
shut down.
chance that the Stop Nick Shirley Act becomes law,
The Supreme
according
Court
to
will
Polymarket
shut
right now.
that shit
Insane.
down. It's so unconstitutional.
I see what they've been doing towards you, and it's completely strange. You're just a local news person, and you're an amazing journalist, and then somehow they're just like throwing these bites out and like saying that you're this and that. So that's a very weird situation.
'Cause they don't want
We're
their cash
Jesus
to stop
believers, and we've
coming.
been praying for the state, and we've been praying for you. He actually, when we were praying, he has sensed that, this state has been drained in terms of wealth and in terms of abundance because of these people with the policies and the bills that they've been passing. And we believe this is a very important year for California to be saved, literally need to be saved and rescued from everything that had gone on for the last 4 to 5 years, ever since with all these agendas going in and everything. And but we need people to pray, and we need people to speak out, and we need reformers.
We do have an actual conflict of interest when the Attorney General is married to someone who's trying to author a bill to essentially attack our freedom of speech. I would consider this to be a textbook conflict of interest, and I would consider it to be extremely unethical. Every journalist across the country should be pissed right now because an attack on Nick Shirley is essentially an attack on everybody. We need our freedom of speech. If we don't have our freedom of speech, what do we have? Next step, Second Amendment.
You're one of the few people who have opposed the Stop Nick Shirley Act. What made you oppose this bill?
What up, Oregon
Because I read the bill.
Viper?
I mean, it's as simple as that. You read the bill and you realize that it's against the First Amendment. It criminalizes citizen investigative journalists who take video and expose fraud. And that's what the bill's designed to do. It's designed to keep secrets, to keep the public from knowing what's going on. They don't want to end their fraud racket. A lot of the politicians, they benefit from the political organizations
The Supreme
and
Court will
various
do the right
contractors
thing.
and grantees that are
It's so
getting
against
money
the
and
Constitution.
getting it fraudulently. And so they want this racket to continue. They don't want the truth to get out. That's
When
why they
truth
got
is
the
under
Stop
attack,
Nick
what do you
Shirley
do?
Act.
Chat back.
When I looked at it, I said, clearly, if Nick Shirley had been in California and visited one of our Somali leering centers with no daycares and no kids or a fake hospice, if this bill were enacted, he would be literally hauled into court, injunctive relief, restraining orders, and a lot of money would be penalized to any investigative journalist.
crazy.
They're trying to bully up front, and if anyone has the audacity to videotape and post fraud, to bankrupt them. This is all about bullying and bankrupting citizen journalists. Can you imagine how outrageous it is to have an organization committing fraud, Somali leering centers with no kids or fake hospices? You show up and you capture the evidence of their misdoings. The operator, the fraudster, hands you a business card that just simply says, "I hereby insist that you not post the video." That's all they have to do under the law. You then do the right thing. You post the video so the public knows what's going on with their money, and they haul you into court and fine you and penalize you for breaking the law. That's the way they're going to weaponize this bill against citizen journalists, and we can't allow it to happen. It's against the First Amendment. It will ultimately, if passed, get overturned in the Supreme Court, but in the meantime, it's a chilling of free speech, and it keeps secrets on all the fraud that's going on.
It's very concerning to know that right now you have politicians who are passing these bills knowing that it is violating the First Amendment.
Yeah. They don't
Christ
care. And
is
so I've
king,
been working
yes,
the floor,
sir.
handing them actual text. I said, did you just read the text? Because the author of the bill is lying. She says, oh, no, it has nothing to do with the Nick Shirleys. It has nothing to do with citizen journalists. But when you read the text, it's plain English. It would make it a crime to post a video of evidence of fraud, and it would result in very costly fines. So we want this language to be removed from the bill. Actually, I want the bill to be killed entirely, but at the very least, they need to take this provision out. The Stop Nick Shirley Act needs to be removed from the bill.
In this bill, it talks about immigrant services. It's very vague. That means healthcare, translation services, attorney services, daycares. It's very vague on what they're trying to say this bill is. And it's being backed by CHRLA.
The Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights LA, which is a taxpayer-funded organization that isn't really providing services. They're really organizing violent protests in LA.
Yeah,
they're agitators, and they don't want people capturing their bad behavior on video. This is designed to protect them and the activities that they're doing.
And if this bill were to be passed, organizations like CHRLA, they would not even have to disclose the amount of money they're getting from taxpayers.
Correct. These organizations are if they have nothing to hide, why have this bill? And the way they define immigrant services is so broad that a hospice, a fake hospice could say, well, one of our fake patients, one of our non-existent patients could have been an immigrant, so therefore we get protection under the bill as well. It is absolutely a bill designed to hide the fraud that's going on in the state of California, and the politicians clearly know that the investigative journalists are on the case, and they got to stop the investigative journalists before it's too late, before the public learns the truth.
And do you think there's a conflict of interest with Mia Bonta, husband being the AG, the Attorney General of the state? Meanwhile, he's trying to take credit for exposing the fraud. Meanwhile, she's trying to silence those that actually have exposed the fraud.
Look, when you showed up and visited the fake hospices in LA and Southern California, you showed he wasn't doing his job. This isn't hard to find. He literally was ignoring it. And so you embarrassed him. You embarrassed him by showing that he's not doing his job to protect taxpayer funds. He then calls a press conference last week and says, oh, look, I took out 21 fraudsters. I'm thinking that's just the tip of the iceberg. And now we've dismantled the fraud rings in California. No, they're not dismantled. You have 21. When you indict 2,100 people, then maybe we're starting to turn the corner.
Yeah. You referred to me as certain people.
Certain people. You did his job. You did his job. The job that he should have been doing all along. You did his job. You embarrassed him. And now Mia Bonta, she doesn't want it to happen again, so she's trying to stop citizen journalists.
The frauds are exposed. No. Subscribe and join to the antifraudclub.com. And go show Nick Shirley some love. Oh, that was crazy. All right, well, I'm going to eat. I'm going to get some food and get ready for bed because I got to get up kind of early and get ready for the day. So, I love you. And my wife says good night. And she loves you guys. And God bless. And we will see you tomorrow. Have a good